Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Alex Guilford.
Hello and welcome to Football Live on Brilla FM. My name, as that lovely new jingle just told you, is Alex Guilford. I'm delighted to be joining you this afternoon on my Football Live presenting debut. You might recognize my voice from a couple of weeks ago when I was reporting on the 0-0 Snorefest between Bournemouth and Chelsea. It was an interesting enough game. Actually, I'm being a little bit harsh there, but I'm delighted to be joining you for the next 4.5 hours here on Brilla FM. We've got all the action coming at you from the Premier League in England and beyond. This afternoon, we're going to be keeping a closest eye for the time being on the game at Kenilworth Road between Luton Town and Tottenham Hotspur. We'll be going over to our reporter Matt Smith in a few moments' time for an update on the game there. There's been plenty of action already in that game, so plenty for Matt to update us with. We're also going to be talking to Ethan Gardner, who is Wearside this afternoon. He's up at the Sunderland against Middlesbrough Wears Tees derby. There's been an opportunity there already, which Ethan will be updating us with. And then at 2:30, we've got Borussia Dortmund against Union Berlin. Both of those teams, of course, were involved in midweek Champions League action. Matthew Key will be keeping us up to date with how they're faring against each other in a couple of hours' time. And then our attentions turn primarily to the Premier League after that. At 3 p.m, we'll be keeping you updated with the game between Burnley and Chelsea, both in a slightly richer vein of form than they have been recently. Burnley getting their first win of the season against Luton on Tuesday. And then, of course, Chelsea on Monday night got a fairly impressive, slightly more impressive than they have been recently anyway, away win at Fulham. We'll also be keeping tabs on Manchester United against Brentford. Andrew Bonocoro will be joining us for that. Frank Onyeka, of course, will be keeping a close eye on him. Nigerian player for Brentford, new young guy that they've signed. So all eyes on there. And then we've got Fulham against Sheffield United. Kane Weers will be updating us from Craven Cottage, keeping an eye, of course, on Calvin Bassey and Alex Iwobi's afternoons in particular. And the final game we'll be keeping tabs on this afternoon is Everton against Bournemouth. And Ash Sandiford is at Goodison Park for us this afternoon. So first and foremost, I think we better go over to Matt Smith, who is enjoying the game at Kenilworth Road this afternoon. Good afternoon, Matt.
Good afternoon, Alex. How are you?
I'm very well indeed, sir. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. It's good afternoon, Football Live listeners. Luton have made 3 changes from the side that lost to Burnley. Reece Burke is in for Ted Mengi, Mads Jewel Anderson is in for Amari Bell, and Elijah Adebayo is in for Issa Kabore. Tottenham are unchanged from their 2-1 win against Liverpool, with Heung-min Son tallying 6 goals in his last 4 Premier League appearances. I mean, early on in this game, Alex, it should have been 1-0 to Tottenham. 2 minutes into the game, Dejan Kulusevski has whipped the ball in from the right wing, and it's a deep cross. He's dropped it onto the path of Richarlison, and honestly, 3 or 4 yards out from goal, he's put it wide and over. It's a howler of a miss. Tottenham have had even more chances in the opening 13 minutes here. Pedro Porro's put a chance wide. Heung-min Son's had a shot go over, and Ange Postecoglou's had his hands on his head for the opening 10 minutes. They should be 3 or 4-0 up. I can't believe it. 13 minutes played, Alex. It is still Luton Town 0, Tottenham Hotspur 0.
Lovely stuff, Matt. Thank you very much for the updates from Kenilworth Road. Of course, Tottenham Hotspur back in action. No midweek European games for them this season, but they've been the talk of the town, haven't they, really? Well, perhaps their game between themselves and Liverpool last weekend has been the talk of the town this week. Lots of fallout from the disastrous VAR decision last weekend to accidentally, it must be said, disallow Liverpool's equaliser when they were a man down. Luis Diaz's goal incorrectly ruled out for offside due to a miscommunication between the VAR officials. I'm sure you'll be getting your teeth stuck into that this afternoon on social media and with your calls into FJ, our colleague over in Nigeria. We're going to have a little listen back to that in a few minutes' time, how the action unfolded at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Sunday. We were, of course, abreast of what was going on here on Live Score. Absolutely extraordinary scenes, the likes of which we've certainly never seen in this country. There was an incident, I think, in Italy last season where Juventus had a goal allowed when it should have been disallowed for offside because the VAR officials there drew the lines on the wrong player. Didn't draw it on the wrong player this time, did they? But there was just a miscommunication. And of course, the Premier League have announced this afternoon that there will be a slight change to the VAR protocol moving forwards. I think we're going to go up to the Stadium of Light in Sunderland. Next, we're going to join Ethan Gardner, who's keeping an eye on the Wears Tees derby. Good afternoon, Ethan. How are you, sir?
I'm very well, thank you. Good afternoon, Alex. How are you?
A good afternoon to you, Ethan. I'm absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much. Delighted to be making my live presenting debut this afternoon. You're in on the action at the Stadium of Light between Sunderland and Middlesbrough. A bit of a local derby, this one. How's the game been so far?
It's been a little bit cagey, as you would expect in a derby. No real opportunities, apart from just one from Sunderland. But both of these sides are actually coming off the back of 2-0 wins last time out for Sunderland. That's enough not to change their lineup at all. The same 11 as a 2-0 win versus Watford last time out. Middlesbrough have made two changes. Australian winger Riley McGree being the headline. He's been dropped. And a former Sunderland Academy player, Sam Greenwood, is actually playing for Middlesbrough today. So maybe some mixed emotions for him. But as I say, not really any major chances so far. A rasping shot just over the bar from Sunderland winger Barr is the only real opportunity I've seen. After 15 minutes at the Stadium of Light here, it is 0-0.
Lovely stuff, Ethan. Thank you very much. Any updates that come from the Stadium of Light throughout the rest of the day, we will, of course, be keeping you up to date with. Just to remind you that at 2:30, we'll be joined by Matthew Key, who's at Borussia Dortmund against Union Berlin at the Signal Iduna Park. Just before that, we will be hearing from betting expert Ayo Alabi at 2:15 for the latest NairaBet tips. Particular focus from Ayo will be on Manchester United against Brentford and Burnley against Chelsea. And then at 3 p.m, we will be joining Jackson Cole at Turf Moor for the game between Burnley and Chelsea. Andrew Buonocore is going to be at Old Trafford for Manchester United and Brentford. Kane Wears will be at Fulham v Sheffield United. And then Ash Sanderford will be joining us from Goodison Park to keep us posted on what's going on between Everton and Bournemouth. Just updating you with a couple of stats from Kenilworth Road, the game between Luton Town and Tottenham. They've only played a fraction over 18 minutes and Spurs have had 7 shots, 2 on target, and Luton have had absolutely none yet. I mean, it's a great story for football, isn't it? Luton Town being in the Premier League. It's a great story for their manager, Rob Edwards, who, of course, had such great success with Forest Green Rovers and then was signed by Watford. The Watford hierarchy had promised that there would be a change of focus, perhaps a change of attitude towards the manager. They were going to allow Rob Edwards to have plenty of time to set the team up as he wanted. And perhaps inevitably, he was sacked by the Watford board just a few months later. It was before Christmas. So the board, as has been their wont on occasion in the past as well, not necessarily keeping true to their word in terms of their sporting vision for the club. And then the worst part for them was that Rob Edwards went and joined their bitter rivals, Luton Town. And what a fairy tale it is seeing Luton Town in the Premier League, a team who had to delay a couple of their home games at the start of the season because the stadium wasn't up to Premier League standards. They've toiled a little bit in the Premier League, haven't they? They did, though, manage a really impressive away win at Everton, who of course haven't been without struggles of their own this season, but particularly thinking of that wonderful finish from Carlton Morris last weekend to put the away side 2-0 up. Dominic Calvert-Lewin did get one back towards the end of the first half for Everton, but the game finished Luton Town 2, Everton 1. But enough about that game for now, because we're going to go back to the Stadium of Light and we're going to hear from Ethan Gardner again. Ethan, there's been a bit of action there. Penalty claim not given and first yellow card of the game.
Yeah, well, the first yellow card has been given, a bit of an over-enthusiastic tackle from Sunderland defensive midfielder Dan Neil, but the penalty claim is a rather interesting one. A cross came in from Middlesbrough winger Jones, and Middlesbrough have quite a tall front line, so there were a few players in there, and midfielder Matt Crooks was pushed to the floor by Sunderland centre-back Luke O'Nien, but it wasn't given. The penalty was waved away by the referee, carried on, and actually, in actual fact, it may have been a little bit soft had it been given, especially for the Championship, where there is, of course, no VAR. After 19 minutes, though, it remains 0-0 here at the Stadium of Light.
Thank you very much, Ethan. I'm just having a look at the Championship table this afternoon. I'm just trying to find both of these teams on it, because you think Middlesbrough did so well towards the end of last season. Sunderland did. They were really unlucky not to get through to the playoffs final. Sunderland are currently sitting in third position. They've got 20 points from 11 games. Middlesbrough have won 3 games on the spin now in the league, in the Championship, but they only sit on 12 points. So they've only had 3 wins all season. That's in their last three games. So they are perhaps refinding a little bit of form. They, of course, had a bit of a personnel loss because their top scorer last season, Chupa Akpom, we all remember him. He was a player of magnificent potential when we were at when he was at Arsenal, rather. He's gone to Ajax now. Ajax, of course, over in Holland, having some issues with their fans, I think. There's been riot police, and one of their games was abandoned halfway through. The rest of it was played behind closed doors. Unhappy times for the Ajax faithful at the moment, I think it's fair to say. We're just going to briefly go back to Kenilworth Road, I think, to join Matt Smith again. The early exchanges were all Tottenham's, weren't they? The stats so far read: Spurs had 7 shots, 2 on target, and none for Luton. But as we were just about to come and join you, I think Luton are having a little bit of the ball now, Matt Smith.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's the first 20 minutes of this game, we're into the 22nd minute now, but the first 20 minutes of this game, Luton did not have a sniff of the ball. There was a time around the 15-minute mark where, I was looking at some of these stats, and Luton had completed 9 passes to Tottenham's 133. So just goes to show how much of the ball Luton have had compared to Spurs. 85% of the possession to Tottenham as well in this opening 22 minutes. But the last 2-3 minutes, Luton have had a chance. Just went over from a marvellous Nakamba shot. Tom Lockyer, the captain for Luton, has been booked. A very, very silly mistake he's received off his goalkeeper, and it's a loose touch, and it's very, very close to being a penalty, but it's just on the outside of the box. The resulting free kick that Maddison took to no avail. But 20 minutes in, it was Tottenham, and then Luton have just had their 3 minutes, just little half chances here and there, nicking the ball off the back four for Spurs, and it's still 23 minutes played, still Luton 0, Tottenham 0. You'd expect a goal pretty soon. I'd expect Tottenham to maybe get the goal themselves, but you never know. They have been Spursy in a few seasons past, so we never know.
Thank you very much, Matt. As you say, Tom Lockyer going into the book there. He, of course, opened the scoring at Goodison Park last weekend. We're going to nip straight back to Ethan Gardner, who's up at the Stadium of Light this afternoon. Ethan, there's been a big chance for the home side.
Well, it should definitely be 1-0 here. A fantastic piece of dribbling from Patrick Roberts, the Sunderland player, who picked the ball up just inside his own half on the right-hand side, dribbled past player after player in the Middlesbrough defence, worked his way all the way into the box, tried to fire low past the Middlesbrough goalkeeper, but actually kicked the ball slightly into the floor, and it's, in the end, a very good save for a Middlesbrough goalkeeper, Seni Dieng. It's a chance that deserved a better finish, to be honest with you, because it was fantastic individual play, and it seems to have spurred on the Sunderland players a little bit. they're starting to get more into the game. We're seeing the likes of Joby Bellingham picking up the ball more now and more opportunities being worked. But after 22 minutes, it remains Sunderland 0, Middlesbrough 0.
Thank you very much, Ethan. Interesting you mentioned Jobe Bellingham there. It should be said, he is the younger brother of Jude Bellingham, who at the moment I think is possibly one of the best midfield players in Europe. There were a few eyebrows raised, weren't there, when Birmingham City retired his shirt number, the number 22, when he was sold to Borussia Dortmund a couple of seasons ago for a fee in the region of about £25 million, I think it was at the time. Eyebrows raised that they would retire such a young player's shirt number, but you can really see why they would do that, given what he's gone on to achieve, Jude Bellingham. And Jobe Bellingham, his younger brother, playing for Sunderland these days. He has got 2 goals this season. He obviously isn't going to quite hit the heights his older brother hit. He actually wears the shirt name Jobe. He's got Jobe on his back rather than Bellingham. Possibly a bit like, do you remember Jordi Cruyff did a similar thing when he was at Manchester United? He was the son, of course, of Johan Cruyff. But he felt that wearing Cruyff on his back wasn't necessarily, maybe he himself didn't quite live up to it. Or perhaps, as Jobe Bellingham appears to have done, maybe he's just wants to take a little bit of the pressure off. He wants to carve out his own career, wants to be his own man, wants to sort of not be seen to be living in his brother's shadow. So keep an eye on Jobe Bellingham. As I say, 2 league goals. They both came in the same game earlier in the season. But 26 minutes played in that game. It is still 0-0. It's also still 0-0 in the game between Luton Town and Tottenham Hotspur. That's at Kenilworth Road. We'll be keeping you up to date with those scores. We're just going to remind you of what we've got for the rest of the afternoon here on Live Score, keeping you up to date with Luton Town against Tottenham Hotspur and Sunderland against Middlesbrough. At 2:30, we'll be bringing you updates from Borussia Dortmund against Union Berlin at the Signal Iduna Park. Then at 3 p.m, we've got Burnley v Chelsea, Manchester United v Brentford, Fulham v Sheffield United, Everton v Bournemouth as well. The evening kickoff is Crystal Palace against Nottingham Forest, which unfortunately we won't be covering for you here, but we'll be going back to Kenilworth Road for the Luton against Tottenham game shortly. But before we do that, there's been a goalmouth scramble up at the Stadium of Lights. So we're going to go to Ethan Gardner, who's up in the northeast for us this afternoon. Goalmouth scramble, Ethan.
Well, Sunderland should have scored at one end and Middlesbrough now at the other. It was a shot come cross really from Sam Greenwood of Middlesbrough. Came across, it was saved by Sunderland keeper Patterson. And then he just was caught out in the middle of the box, and it was a battle between the Middlesbrough striker Coburn and Sunderland centre-back Ballard. Neither of them could really get their foot on the ball, and it just went past the near post. But really, it should have been a goal. And as a result of the miss, after 26 minutes, it is still 0-0 here at the Stadium of Light between Sunderland and Middlesbrough.
Thank you very much, Ethan. So we're going to now go back to Kenilworth Road. We're going to join Matt Smith once more. We've got 27 minutes played in the fixture between Luton Town and Tottenham Hotspur. Matt, you were telling us not that long ago it was all Tottenham until Luton had a brief spell of possession. Has anything changed?
Nothing's really changed, Alex. I think Spurs have sort of dropped the intensity just a tad. Luton are having a lot more of the ball now. They're sort of in that Tottenham half a lot more of the time now. Spurs not struggling to get at, but Maddison is having to drop quite deep in between the two centre backs, Van der Ven and Christian Romero, to try and get the ball and try and start attacks. But Luton seem to be a little bit fiercer now going forward, taking risks a bit more. But it is still 28 minutes played. It's Luton Town 0, Tottenham Hotspur 0, but Tottenham need to be having a chances pretty soon.
Yeah, they do indeed. We're going to stick with you for a second, Matt, if that's all right. There's obviously this week been a huge I wouldn't say there's been a bit of a furore around it, but of course it's such a big decision, such a big event in possibly even in the history of the Premier League. I don't think that's too much of an overstatement to say. What was your take on the decision last weekend to disallow Liverpool's goal at Tottenham last weekend?
Yeah, it's a very strange one. I think everyone has the opinion that it's very difficult to sort of put your finger on what's going wrong. I think Pochettino summed it up. Mauricio Pochettino summed it up quite well. He said, we like the car, but we just don't like the driver. The people that are behind this sort of thing. It's a little bit strange, and how things are being decided. And we heard the audio come out. They released the audio, and it just seems like there's a team of people behind VAR that don't really know the rules and don't really know what's going on. They haven't really got the know-how or the bottle really to go, right, okay, let's stop the game and let's make it fair. If we can sort this out, people might look at VAR differently. But again, for years now, people have looked at VAR with a bit of an eyebrow and gone, this is not really working as best as we thought it would be.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? But do you think that managers and maybe we in the media need to change our approach to VAR slightly? We do expect everything to be perfect, but the laws of the game are not all black and white. Lots of it is open to interpretation. Do you think our expectations, given the fact that VAR is in place, needs to change?
I think when VAR first came in, that, like you say, there were very high expectations, and I think now there's been so many sort of poor decisions and so many blunders from VAR. We don't really concentrate on the good that it does. There are some times where VAR gets it spot on, but we don't really hear about those because it's almost too few and far between that they get a lot of praise. I think VAR has to be altered, has to be changed. There has to be a definite set of rules where everyone can follow. There's no grey area in between. Just as you come to me there, Kulusevski's had a fantastic chance coming in from the right, again putting it onto his left foot and forcing a great save from Thomas Kaminski. But from a Tottenham perspective and Ange Postecoglou perspective, he doesn't want the replay. He just wants to move on. And I think Spurs fans will want that as well.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Jurgen Klopp was possibly just trying his luck a little bit, don't you? Because, we've seen VAR get decisions wrong in the past and there's been no inclination that we were going to replay the game, has there?
No, not at all. I think Klopp is a bit of a chancer. I think you don't ask, you don't get. I think it's. I think every manager probably would. I think Ange Postecoglou maybe would have done that as well. I think Ten Hag, all these managers would have maybe tested it and tested the way that VAR would work and go, well, can we replay it? It's a question that's never really been asked. So Klopp had every right to, but I think it's the fact that it's the first time anyone's asked shows that I don't think it was going to happen.
Yeah. And what do you make of Ange Postecoglou this season? It's almost becoming a little bit tedious. I'm sick of myself saying it. What a breath of fresh air he has been for the Premier League. Straight talking, seems like a really nice bloke. He spoke very candidly about sort of what he feels his role is with Richarlison this season. What do you make of Ange Postecoglou, Matt?
I have to say, Ange Postecoglou, the Ange ball that he's introduced to this league is, like you say, I think you took the words out of my mouth, a breath of fresh air for Spurs fans and probably Premier League fans, neutrals like myself. Watching the way that they play, they're playing such better football. It's unbelievable the way that they're playing. They seem to have some sort of identity now. Don't get too excited, Spurs fans, when I say this. If Spurs win today, they'll have the best points tally after 8 games since their title-winning campaign of the 1960-61 season. So, with that in mind, Spurs are playing some fantastic football. They're right up the top. They're competing for the title 7-8 games in. I say don't get too excited, but I think Postecoglou's got them playing the best football I've ever seen, in my opinion, for a long, long time.
Yeah, and they haven't sort of got the headache of lots of a stodgy fixture list throughout midweek as well, so they can really focus on their performances in the league. Matt Smith is at Kenilworth Road. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back to him for updates of the game between Luton Town and Tottenham Hotspur throughout the rest of the afternoon. This is Football Live.
Sports Radio 88.9 Brila FM.
Here we go! Football Live is back tomorrow with Premier League action. Arsenal against Manchester City. Newcastle go to West Ham. It's Brighton at home to Liverpool. And the Midlands derby, Wolves Aston Villa. Also, action from the Bundesliga, La Liga and Serie A. Join Chris Baldwin from 2 in the afternoon tomorrow on Football Live, exclusive to Brilla FM.
Take Brilla anywhere, everywhere.
Yes, you can take Brilla with you anywhere, everywhere.
The Brilla app is available for free download on Google Play. It is also there on the Apple iTunes Store. Yes, on Google Play and the Apple iTunes Store.
Look out for the Brilla football and microphone logo with the letters BRILA in green colour.
That is our authentic app. It gives you Brilla FM, Brilla.net, BrillaSports.tv and all the extra betting tips, live score, plus our Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Google Plus and YouTube posts.
Sports fun. You can post your videos and eyewitness reports.
Brilla, B-R-I-L-A. Available for download on Google Play and the Apple iTunes Store.
If you're betting on sports this week, why not make your money go further? Sign up to NairaBet for 11 days of risk-free betting. If your bet loses, you will get your stake back as a free bet up to 2,000 Naira. All you need to do is register a new account with NairaBet today and qualify to get up to 22,000 Naira in free bets. Visit www.nairabet.com/bonus for more information. General and free bet terms apply. Must be over 18. Must be KYC approved. Must place a qualifying bet. Bets must include football, tennis or basketball markets. Please gamble responsibly.
You are listening to Football Live.
Let's get back to the action on Football Live.
Hit it, boys.
Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Alex Guilford.
Yes, welcome back to Football live and exclusive on Brilla FM. We are keeping up to date for the time being with the games between Luton Town and Tottenham Hotspur, as well as Sunderland against Middlesbrough up in the northeast. And that's where we are going to head now. We're going to join Ethan Gardner up there. Ethan, no goals yet. Is one coming?
I'd like to think so. The game is opening up a lot more now, a lot of breaks between both sides. Unfortunately, we have also seen an injury. Sunderland right back Huggins having to leave the field. He's been replaced by Seelt, a Dutch right back, off of the bench. There have been a couple of yellow cards as well. Both teams trying to impose themselves. A break from young French winger Abdullah Bar for Sunderland led to a yellow card being given to Middlesbrough winger Isaiah Jones, who brought him down. There have been lots of breaks and little half chances here and there, pot shots being put off, not a lot on target though. But hopefully, as you say, there is a goal coming soon. After 35 minutes, it remains Sunderland 0, Middlesbrough 0.
Thank you very much, Ethan. Just to remind you what the championship table looks like. Leicester City are top. They've played 10 and won 9 of their fixtures so far, you have to say. At this stage of the season, they look to be a bit of a shoe-in for a promotion place, at very least, probably top 2 given the form they're currently in. Ipswich Town, former Premier League team, of course. They've played 10, won 8, drawn 1, lost 1. So they're on 25 points. Sunderland are in 3rd, and as things stand, are on 20 points. And then you have to go down to 16th to pick up Middlesbrough. They only have 12 points from their 11 games so far, but they have won their last 3. So they're a team in really good form at the moment. Just to remind you, the other games we've got coming up here on Football Live this afternoon, keeping abreast of those 2 12:30 kickoffs. Then at 2:30, we've got Borussia Dortmund against Union Berlin. And then at 3 p.m., there's 4 Premier League games that we'll be keeping you up to date with. Burnley against Chelsea, Manchester United at home to Brentford, Fulham against Sheffield United, and then Everton against Bournemouth. But for the time being, we're going to go and join Matt Smith back at Kenilworth Road, because there's some slightly bad news for Tottenham Hotspur fans. Yves Bissouma's been an important player for them so far. He didn't really get much of a look in previously, but he started the season really well under Ange Postecoglou, and there could be a suspension coming his way, Matt Smith.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a silly foul. He's right behind, I believe it's Alfie Doughty, who's going forward, and he's just sort of pulled him back. He's not going to get the ball. he's not going to get the ball. It's a silly foul to give away, and I think he's maybe got that down to a T. He gives those silly fouls away, and he'll be suspended for the next game. Just before that, there's a little bit of a check. Luton did have the ball in the net, can you believe? But I think after looking at a few of the replays, I do believe that it's going to be chalked off pretty soon. I think there's a couple of offsides, that's for sure. That the VAR are checking it, so you may want to come back to me, but there's loads and loads of things happening in that past 3 or 4 seconds that the referee has to look at. And again, we'll have another check of VAR, and we can have another discussion about that, I'm sure.
Okay, great. We'll be heading back over to Matt Smith in a couple of minutes' time, just to let the dust settle on that ongoing VAR decision. Tottenham Hotspur were, of course, involved in that controversial VAR decision between Liverpool and Tottenham, and I believe producer John has got it lined up in terms of how it unfolded here on Football Live last weekend. So have a listen to this, and then we'll be heading back to Matt Smith for an update on the game at Kenilworth Road. Producer John.
Oh, Luis Diaz that scored. This will be close.
It looks like it might be onside, so we can confirm now here on Football Live. Liverpool did have the ball in the back of the net, but the goal has been given offside.
What? On-field decision was offside. Are you happy with this image? Yes, onside. The image we gave is onside.
Left back.
He's gone offside.
Delay the game. Stop the game.
They've restarted the game.
On the field.
They've restarted. Yeah. I can't do anything.
But it is Spurs who've gone down the other round, and it is Hyun-Min Song who has put his side in front.
1-0 to Tottenham Hotspur, and it is Son once again, and it's really good play from Richarlison. It's an excellent ball from James Maddison.
After being in control for this whole game, Liverpool down to 10 men, but they strike right to the death.
Unbelievably, Liverpool have equalised on the stroke of half time. It's Cody Gakpo that scored it.
As Liverpool are down to 9 men, and it's Jota with 2 yellow cards in 2 minutes.
Jurgen Klopp will be wanting to kick Jota after that. He's completely lost his head.
It's incredible scenes. We thought that Tottenham were written off, but they've done it. They've got a goal, and they are leading in the dying seconds. What incredible scenes we've got here.
Oh my word, Josh, I don't believe what I've just seen. Matip has put the ball into his own net.
How can the ref explain the situation here? The linesman thought, obviously, it's worth watching, looking again, and that's why he raised the flag. In the good old times, a linesman should have seen that as well, that this is no offside, because you had these situations quite frequently, and when you see it back, it's pretty clear. But again, nobody did it on purpose, so I cannot, again, whatever I say here, it just creates headlines, but doesn't help the situation at all.
Yeah, Jurgen Klopp there, trying to avoid creating headlines, but of course you can't not make headlines when it comes to that kind of decision going that disastrously wrong. Wasn't it absolutely fascinating hearing the VAR protocol kind of unfolding and being misapplied? I mean, really, really extraordinary scenes. When you, if you do get in contact with FJ this afternoon, let him know your thoughts on that. Let him know what you think of the decision that it appears to be in place not to allow Liverpool to replay the game. Of course, then you get into a bit of a muddle. You know, does it set a dangerous precedent? Should we be replaying games just because referees are human beings and getting decisions wrong? Should we pick up the game from the point when Liverpool were down to 10 men and Luis Diaz had just equalised? It opens up a whole can of worms, doesn't it? Potentially, anyway. So do get in touch with FJ this afternoon. Let him know your thoughts on that. Meanwhile, here at Football Live, we're going to go back to Kenilworth Road. The home side had the ball in the back of the net a few moments ago. The goal was disallowed, but now there's a slightly worrying injury concern for the home side, Matt Smith.
Yeah, it's an injury to Carlton Morris, which was actually, in the build-up to that disallowed goal. Going back to the goal itself that was disallowed, it's Jacob Brown has lofted a free kick sort of deep, almost on the halfway line. It's not really troubling the keeper. It's not really a shot, but he's lofted it all the way into the box. And there is a few Luton players and strikers offside, but no worry that they didn't receive the ball. It's gone all the way back to, I believe it's Reece Burke who's in the box as well, who's causing a little bit of trouble from set pieces. He's nodded it towards the goal. Elijah Adebayo has pushed Christian Romero onto the floor. I think that's what the goal has been disallowed for, and it's hit the post on the far side of Vicario's goal. It's bounced back towards the penalty spot, and it's Tom Lockyer who nods it in, and he gets a kick in the nose for his troubles. And Luton fans think it's a goal, but a quick check and there's a foul given against Elijah Adebayo on Christian Romero, so it is still 0-0. 44 minutes played. Luton 0, Tottenham 0, but Luton again just having a little bit of a scare towards Tottenham. Tottenham having a little bit of a wake-up call there.
Just towing their way into the game. How important is Carlton Morris for the way Luton Town play, Matt?
Oh, he's instrumental is the word that I can use for him. He is everywhere. Just in this game alone, this 45 minutes, he's doing his defensive work. He's running into the channels. He's coming to get it short. And it's not like he's just full of pace. He's physical as well. So fair enough. He's not one of the best strikers this league has ever seen. He's certainly not one of the strikers that's on everyone's lips. But for Luton, he's just what they need. He's giving them everything up there. Everything, attacking work, defensive work. He's doing all he can. And at the moment, 44 minutes in, fair enough, he hasn't scored a goal, he hasn't put them into the lead, but he's helping. He's behind the ball. When Tottenham are coming forward, he's behind the ball. They've got all 10 outfield players behind the ball, and he's one of them. So he's playing his part in this, and if they carry on like this, I think Luton will be over the moon with a draw at home to Tottenham.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Matt. We're just approaching the end of the first half there at Kenilworth Road. I'm just looking at Carlton Morris's career. He's had what can only really be described as a journeyman's career. He was at Norwich City from 2014 to 2021. He had no fewer than 9 loan spells during that period. 2 of them were at MK Dons. He was at Rotherham twice as well. He was at Shrewsbury, Hamilton, York City, Oxford United. He then was signed by Barnsley in 2021. He spent a season there, season and a half there. He got 51 appearances under his belt and scored 14 goals. And a proof of his talismanic status at Luton Town, he's played 51 league goals for Luton. He's got 23 goals. He made 3 appearances for England's under-19s, got a couple of goals. You just can't help but think, that the deft touch he showed away at Everton to score on the half volley last weekend, there might just be a case where Gareth Southgate might be looking to someone like Carlton Morris because, as Matt said, he's not just bags of pace, he's got strength and technique as well. And could he just be, if there's a few injuries in Gareth Southgate's team, could he be a good option to bring off the bench for him? Who knows? Matt Smith, I think we're going to go back to you at Kenilworth Road because half-time is just approaching now. How long have we got?
Yes, 3 added minutes have been given, Alex, and just as you come to me, Maddison's fired a shot over the bar again. They've had unbelievable amount of shots. Ange Postecoglou must be thinking, what is going wrong? They've had 81% of the ball. They've had 11 total shots, 3 on target, 7 off target, and a blocked shot. So they're absolutely peppering this goal. Luton have only had 3 shots the whole game, not a single shot on target. So it's vast, in the comparison, there's vast differences between these two. Postecoglou, it's a much more frustrating first half for Spurs than it is Luton. Luton are happy to sit, park the bus. I think Rob Edwards has got them playing that way because of how well Spurs are playing this season. We're into the 47th minute, and it looks like Luton could go into the break holding a draw.
Yeah, lovely stuff. Thank you, Matt. We'll be back to you when the half-time whistle is blown. We're just going to go up to the Stadium of Light and join Ethan Gardner in Sunderland because we're approaching half-time there as well, Ethan.
We are, and I get the feeling now, watching this play, that both teams are just looking to make it to half-time, still at 0-0. The game has calmed down a little bit from a frenetic 10 minutes, really, beforehand. Both midfields sort of just holding on to the ball and passing it around. A couple of chances, really, but nothing too concrete. Only 1 shot on target for either side in this whole game so far. After 46 minutes, it is still Sunderland 0, Middlesbrough 0.
Yeah, it's not been a Wears Tees derby for the ages up at the Stadium of Light. Thank you very much, Ethan. We'll be coming to you for a half-time update before too long. But I think we're going to go to Kenilworth Road and join Matt Smith. We talked about Yves Bissouma having an excellent start to the season, but there could be a suspension in the offing for him. Matt Smith, I think that potential has turned into a definite, hasn't it?
It is a definite, Alex. He's been sent off for 2 yellow cards. The first one I said was a silly foul. The second one, I cannot believe he's doing it. He's just on the edge of the box and he's surrounded by Luton players and he's trying to get in between them all with the ball, and he goes past the little Luton player and there's no touch by the Luton defender, but Yves Bissouma goes down and it is a terrible, terrible dive on the edge of the box, looking for a little free kick maybe that Maddison could have taken and possibly scored. But Yves Bissouma, I can't believe it, can't quite believe it. He's dived and he's got a second yellow, and that is Tottenham down to 10 men just before the half-time break. So Postecoglou's first 45 minutes was frustrating. Now it must be twofold. It's Luton 0, Tottenham 0 after 49 minutes. Spurs now down to 10 men.
Thank you very much, Matt Smith. From frustration to infuriation for Ange Postecoglou. It'll be interesting to see what he has to say after the game. He's normally so sort of candid and sort of sensible and sensitive. Be interesting to see what he makes of Yves Bissouma's decision when on a yellow card to make such a horrifyingly obvious dive. We have there'll be an update to come for you from the Stadium of Light. There's been a bit of action going on there. They're just literally on the strike of halftime now, so we will be joining Ethan Gardner before too long. Just while we do that, I'm just going to remind you that it is we're with Luton Town and Tottenham Hotspur for the time being, Sunderland and Middlesbrough as well. Updates from there for the next sort of hour or so. And then at 2:30, we've got Borussia Dortmund against Union Berlin. Burnley v Chelsea is one of our 3 p.m. games, along with Manchester United against Brentford. Interesting to see how Man United recover from their the second loss in a row. Before I tell you the rest of the games, we're going to get half-time report from Matt Smith at Kenilworth Road.
Well, it should have been 1-0 to Tottenham only 2 minutes into the game. Dejan Kulusevski whipped the ball in from the right wing and it dropped into the path of Richarlison, the Brazilian, but from 3 or 4 yards out, he put it wide and over. It's a howler of a miss. Tottenham then had even more chances, massive chances for the rest of the second half to take the lead. Pedro Porro putting it wide, Richarlison forcing a good reaction save from Kaminski, Heung-min Son blazing a good shot over the bar. I've never seen domination like it, Alex, without a single goal in the game. Luton had a few sniffs around the 25th minute mark, but nothing to worry the Tottenham defence and goalkeeper. Ange Postecoglou will be scratching his head as to why the goals haven't been coming in the opening 45, but they're looking good going forward. Luton did have the ball in the back of the net, can you believe? However, an Elijah Adebayo foul in the build-up ruled that out, and Tottenham escaped an embarrassing scare. Tottenham's frustrating first half turned to anger for Postecoglou when Yves Bissouma stupidly dived on the edge of the box to receive his second yellow card. How will this change things for Ange? It's Luton Town 0, Tottenham Hotspur 0, half-time here at Kenilworth Road.
Thank you very much, Matt Smith. And we're going to cut straight to Ethan Gardner up in Sunderland. Ethan, has been an eventful first half there. You just had the strike of half-time, I believe, but there was plenty of action towards the end of that half.
Well, indeed. I said both teams were sort of looking to wind things down until half-time. And then, stupidly, Sunderland central defensive midfielder Dan Neil picks up a second yellow card to get himself sent off in the 48th minute. It was a challenge that didn't need making, and there was an attack that was sort of coming to nothing from Middlesbrough. He slides in and the referee gives him a second yellow card, gives him his marching orders. And then, not long after that, of course, play resumed. And as the half-time whistle was blown, there was a little kerfuffle between the teams. A couple of yellow cards given out, players shoving each other around. The striker for Middlesbrough, Coburn, and Sunderland central defender Ballard are the two that have been given a yellow card from that. And it's just spilling over. It's been a frustrating half really for both teams because neither have been able to impose themselves. They've had chances, but no one has actually taken any yet. And at half-time here, it is 0-0 between Sunderland and Middlesbrough, but a lively first half. And yeah, 0-0.
Great stuff, Ethan. Thank you very much. Very similar goings on in both of our games this afternoon. They're both goalless. Luton Town 0, Tottenham Hotspur 0, and Sunderland 0, Middlesbrough 0. And they've both had a red card late in the dying minutes of the first period. So it's 24 minutes past one, half time in both of our feature games here. So we're going to be heading back to your wonderful team of FJ back in Nigeria in just a few moments' time. And then don't forget that we will be up to date with Borussia Dortmund against Union Berlin from 2:30, and then the rest of the Premier League 3 p.m. kickoffs at 3 p.m. So we're going to hand back over to FJ and we'll be back with you before too long. This is Football Live.
Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Alex Guilford.
Yes, hello, welcome back to Football Live, live in Nigeria on 88.9 FM on Brilla.net and on the Brilla app. Thank you for joining us. Hope you enjoyed our coverage of the early kickoff in the Premier League between Luton Town and Tottenham Hotspur, and of course updates from Sunderland against Middlesbrough. I think the first thing we're going to do is get a little update from our correspondent at Kenilworth Road in Luton. Matt Smith, there's been a chance early on, but there's also a substitution you need to update us with.
Yeah, substitution for Spurs, I think, just to shore things up. Ange Postecoglou's brought on Pierre-Emile Højbjerg in the centre of the park. Richarlison has been hauled off. He's had the chances, I have to admit. Ange Postecoglou, he needs those chances, and if it's the likes of Son and Maddison getting those chances, I think they bury the chances that Richarlison has had. But so Richarlison off, Højbjerg on. Luton have had arguably their best chance of the game, probably won't get a better chance to take the lead. Just happening there. Chediozi Ogbene has just squared the ball. It's two on one. It's an overload, and it's Elijah Adebayo, almost similarly to Richarlison's early chance in the first half. He's 3 or 4 yards out. He's on a bit of a stretch, but surely you put that in the net. He's 3 yards out, and he's scuffed it, and it's just rolled out for a goal kick. Luton fans, hands on heads. That could have been a fantastic start to the second half for Luton, but 47 minutes played. Luton 0, Tottenham 0.
Goodness me, thank you, Matt Smith. Could and perhaps should have been 1-0 to Luton Town. Tottenham, of course, down to 10 men. Ange Postecoglou bringing on Emile Pierre Højbjerg to try and shore things up after Yves Bissouma's red card. Before we get an update from the Northeast, I'm being joined by John Kane. John, are you there?
The latest in-play betting odds from NairaBet.
Yes, thank you very much, Alex. And the latest odds from NairaBet, and of course all these prices from NairaBet website, and all subject to change. Of course, the big game at the moment that's happening is Luton against Spurs. Luton are 3.60 for the win. The draw is 2.60. Just gone down for Spurs at 2.62. Of course, if you think both teams to score, which is obviously something that is a possibility, Luton playing at home and Spurs are playing with 10 men, it's 3.20. It's 3.20 if you think it's both Luton and Spurs will score for the next 45 minutes or so. And if you think it's going to be over 2.5 goals, so 3 goals or more, is 4.50. Now, if we look about some sort of goal scorers in that game, of course, going to be quite a few of them. Far in between, of course, Richarlison is gone off. So if you think him and someone score the first goal, he's on 6.50. James Maddison is on 8.0. And if you're looking at someone from Luton Town, Carlton Morrison, he's on 8.0. If you go back to the game between Sunderland and Middlesbrough, Sunderland as well are playing with 10 men, still 0-0. Sunderland are 5.50. The draw is 2.75, and a Middlesbrough away win is 1.95. Of course, all these prices are from NairaBet website and all subject to change.
Lovely stuff. Thank you very much, John. Interesting that lots of you on the phone to FJ calling in with our colleagues in Nigeria a few moments ago. You're still backing Spurs to win this against Luton Town. The early warning signs are there for the Lily Whites, though. They've been under the cosh just a little bit since the start of the second half. More updates coming up from Matt Smith in a few moments' time, but we're going to go to Ethan Gardner at the Stadium of Light because the second half between Sunderland and Middlesbrough is underway, and you've got a personnel change to update us with, Ethan.
We do. Well, due to that late red card at the end of the first half, Sunderland actually mirroring what's happening for Spurs at Kenilworth Road. They have also taken off a striker like Richarlison. They've taken off Burstow, and they have brought on a central midfielder like Højbjerg in the form of former PSG academy player Adil Awashish, perhaps just trying to shore things up in the midfield, which is where most of the key battles are going on at the moment. We've also had quite a big chance for Middlesbrough. They should possibly be 1-0 up. I have said that before in this game, but the ball came low across the box to midfielder Matt Crooks, who found himself in one-on-one with the goalkeeper, and actually it's a fantastic save from Sunderland's goalkeeper Patterson, who's going to have to have a very strong afternoon. If Sunderland are to get anything out of this game, you'd have to think after 49 minutes, it still is Sunderland 0, Middlesbrough 0.
Lovely stuff, Ethan. Thank you very much. We'll be heading back to Ethan for updates throughout the second half of that game between Sunderland and Middlesbrough. We're going to go and join Matt Smith once more in Kenilworth Road. He's at the game between Luton Town and Tottenham Hotspur. Matt, obviously an enforced, if you like, not quite enforced, but almost enforced personnel change for Ange Postecoglou at half-time. What have the early exchanges been like?
Yeah, the early exchanges have been all Luton really, and I think Spurs are just holding on at the moment. It's 52 minutes played, Luton 0, Tottenham 0, but Tottenham knocking on the door, I'm sure.
Lovely stuff. So we'll be keeping up to date with Matt Smith throughout the rest of the afternoon. Luton Town on top in the early exchanges of the second half after Tottenham had dominated proceedings early on in the game, and Luton just towed their way into it towards the end of the first half, only to find to find their opponents then were down to 10 men after Yves Bissouma picked up 2 yellow cards. The second one for a pretty scandalous dive by the sounds of it. A bit of a silly one on the edge of the box, threw himself to the ground. And we've got news for you, actually, from Kenilworth Road. There has been a goal.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
There has been a goal at Kenilworth Road, which means we are going to go straight over to Matt Smith. Matt, what can you tell us?
Yes, it's Tottenham that have taken the lead. Luton Town 0, Tottenham 1. It's Mickey van der Ven, an unlikely goal scorer who has put Tottenham ahead. It looks like a corner from the training ground from Spurs. Son's played it short to James Maddison, and I tell you now, James Maddison has been instrumental in all of Spurs' attacks and moves into the final third, and he's instrumental in this as well. It comes short from the corner. He beats one player, and he's right on the byline, so he's playing with inches here. He's really, really close to letting the ball go out of play. But he managed to pull it back, and a breakdown from the corner. Obviously, you're going to have the likes of Christian Romero and Mickey van der Ven in there, and Mickey van der Ven is there, and he opens his body up very well and just slots it past Thomas Kaminski. It is Luton Town 0, Tottenham 1 with 10 men.
Goodness me, going against the run of play there. It's good news for Ange Postecoglou. What do you make of Luton's chances of getting back into the game now, Matt?
I think their chances have just been made slimmer. I can't quite believe that Luton haven't taken the lead in that early chance in the second half. But I think a lot of the callers that we heard with FJ, they were right to not write Tottenham off. I think, if anything, Ange Postecoglou, I imagine, would have given them an absolute rollicking at half-time and come out a different team. And straight away, it's a fantastic start to the second half. I would argue maybe that they could probably go and get 2 or 3. But, you don't want to be hasty. You might want to park the bus. You never know what is going on in Ange's mind. That's why he's a manager, and I'm not.
Well, quite, yeah. I mean, if we're all as good at management as Ange Postecoglou, I'm not entirely sure we'd necessarily be communicating on here this afternoon. But we can but dream. I personally, I've always fancied myself as a decent football manager, but I think I'll stick to the video game rather than actually throwing my hand at it anytime particularly soon. So update from Kenilworth Road. It is Luton Town 0, Tottenham Hotspur 1. The 10 men of Tottenham Hotspur have just gone ahead through their new summer signing, Mickey van der Ven. Superb finish by the sounds of it from him. Not quite sure what he was doing so far up the pitch for a centre-back. Although he's got decent technique and he's very highly thought of at VfB Wolfsburg. The team he was signed from during the summer, and more signs of Ange Postecoglou's Tottenham revolution underway. Their backs against the wall and sort of against the odds. They have managed to get themselves a goal up with 35 minutes or so left to play. We are 10 minutes into the second half at Kenilworth Road, and we're about the same between Sunderland and Middlesbrough. Don't forget the symmetry between those two games. Sunderland also went a man down just on the stroke of half time. Our stats geniuses here at Football Live on Brilla FM said that was Dan Neal's second career red card. The only other red card he's received was in a 2-1 loss at Sheffield United in August 2022. So Sunderland fans will be hoping that isn't too much of an omen for their side. Meanwhile, Middlesbrough looking to continue their fine form in the Championship. They've won their last 3, find themselves on 12 points, but a win this afternoon would see them certainly knocking on the door of the playoff places. We're just let's head back to Kenilworth Road. Let's just have another quick chat with Matt Smith. Just for an update on that game between Luton Town and Tottenham. Matt, since the goal, what's the game been like? Has it been Luton on the attack trying to get back, or have Tottenham sort of settled down a bit and been able to get their foot on the ball?
Well, believe it or not, Luton are having another relatively good spell again in the 57th minute mark. I think there's a few changes that Rob Edwards is looking to make, maybe to try and sort this out before it gets a little bit ugly. But Luton are just having a little bit of possession in the attacking third, that's for sure. But Kaminski, I think in that first half, the goalkeeper Thomas Kaminski had been quite solid. So it's a shame that he's conceded. But James Maddison, I said again, singing his praises, he is a fantastic addition to this Tottenham side. His creativity, like I said, his attacking work is second to none, and I think that's why he's one of the highly regarded English footballers in this league, probably in the world. I think he's really showing his class now.
Lovely stuff. Thank you very much, Matt. And we've got another goal for you here on Football Live.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Yes, that's right. There has been a goal in the game between Sunderland and Middlesbrough at the Stadium of Light. It's gone the way of the away side. Michael Carrick's Middlesbrough, playing against the 10 men of Sunderland, have managed to play that to their advantage. And they've got themselves a goal up with just under 15 minutes played of the second half. So we'll be getting an update from our reporter, Ethan Gardner, there before too long, just to remind you that they both away sides in our games this afternoon are a goal to the good, and both home sides are down to 10 men. That means that Luton Town 0, Tottenham Hotspur 1 is how things sit there. Tottenham with 10 men after Ibasuma got sent off. Luton are currently 12.0 for the draw on NairaBet, subject to change. That is, of course, the draw is 4.33 and Spurs 1.36. So Tottenham certainly firm favourites to get a victory there this afternoon, despite being down to 10 men. And as I mentioned, Middlesbrough are a goal up at the Stadium of Light, their away fixture at Sunderland. And we are going to head to the Stadium of Light and join Ethan Gardner for an update on what happened in the game there. Oh, we're not going to go there yet, actually, I don't think, because there's possibly some action that we need to report on for you, and we'll have to include in that report as well. So lots for Ethan Gardner to keep his eyes on at this stage. Just to remind you that in about 40 minutes time, we'll be bringing you updates from Borussia Dortmund between Union Berlin with Matthew Key. And then at 3 p.m, we've got 4 Premier League games that we'll be keeping you up to date with. Those are Burnley v Chelsea, Manchester United v Brentford, Fulham v Sheffield, and Everton v Bournemouth. So, and we've got another goal this afternoon at the Stadium of Light.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
That's right. Middlesbrough are 2 goals to the good now and a man to the good as well. So things going pretty smoothly for Michael Carrick's men. And as I mentioned before, we will be heading over to Ethan Gardner for a report on both of those 2 goals. He's going to have to fill us in on both of them in a few moments' time. But Michael Carrick's side away at Sunderland, his Middlesbrough team, are currently 2 goals to the good. So things are going well for them. Still at Kenilworth Road, 61 minutes played. It's still Luton 0, Tottenham 1. As I mentioned earlier, Tottenham a goal up, but also down to 10 men. Yves Bissouma got a slightly clumsy red card. Well, so it wasn't a clumsy red card. It was a slightly silly and reckless red card towards the end of the first half, which put his side in a little bit of trouble. And I gather we can now go to Ethan Gardner in the northeast. Ethan, it's all kicked off since we last spoke.
It has, and things are getting a little bit emotional here too, because the first goal was scored by a former Sunderland Academy player, Sam Greenwood, who ran to the corner but refused to celebrate. And then in contrast, after the second goal, one of the Middlesbrough players, Isaiah Jones, who got a wonderful assist for it, went over and shushed the Sunderland fans. So clearly the message is not going through the team. They don't have the same sentiment towards their opposition. The first goal, a cross came in low from captain Dale Fry from Middlesbrough, and it fell to Sam Greenwood, who finished high into the top left-hand corner on the left-hand side of the box. It was a well-taken goal. The second, Isaiah Jones, as I just mentioned, with a wonderful assist. Some great dribbling down the right-hand side to lose a couple of defenders, and then played it across to Matt Crooks, who has had chances previously in this game and finally has taken one, albeit into an empty net from just a couple of yards out. Sunderland, unfortunately, now clearly going to struggle in this match. A man down, 2 goals down, and the fun playing style that they were using before seems to have gone out the window. Middlesbrough executing Michael Carrick's game plan to perfection, especially with a man up. They're in complete control of this game now, and after 60 minutes, it is now Sunderland 0, Middlesbrough 2.
Thank you very much, Ethan. We're going to go straight down from the northeast to just north of London to join Matt Smith at Kenilworth Road. Matt, you've got an update for us there.
Yes, absolutely. It's Luton that have had the last 10 minutes a lot of possession. I think Spurs are playing a little bit on the counter-attack and just holding it, absorbing that pressure and then launching counter-attacks. And it's come from one of these counter-attacks that Pedro Porro's found himself in a fantastic opportunity, fantastic space around the edge of the Luton box. And he's going on a 1v1 with, I believe it's Alfie Doughty at left-back. And he's used his right foot just to outside of the boot. He's just swung it right round the goal. It looks like it's going to be bending in at the last minute, but it does whistle just past the post. Teden Mengi has just come on onto the pitch for Luton for an injured Mads Jules Anderson. So there's changes for Luton. I think Tahith Chong is about to come on as well. So attacking changes for Luton. They're probably needed. If Spurs are going to park that bus and maybe hold on to that win and launch counter-attacks, I think Luton maybe needs to throw the kitchen sink. 63 minutes played. Luton 0, Tottenham 1.
Lovely stuff. Thank you very much, Matt Smith. This is Football Live.
Sports Radio, 88.9 Brila FM.
Here we go!
Football Live is back tomorrow with Premier League action. Arsenal against Manchester City. Newcastle go to West Ham. It's Brighton at home to Liverpool. And the Midlands derby, Wolves Aston Villa. Also action from the Bundesliga, La Liga and Serie A. Join Chris Baldwin from 2 in the afternoon tomorrow on Football Live, exclusive to Brila FM.
Take Brila anywhere, everywhere.
Yes, you can take Brila with you anywhere, everywhere.
The Brilla app is available for free download on Google Play. It is also there on the Apple iTunes Store. Yes, on Google Play and the Apple iTunes Store.
Look out for the Brilla football and microphone logo with the letters BRILA in green colour.
That is our authentic app. It gives you Brilla FM, Brilla.net, BrillaSports.tv, and all the extra betting tips, live score, plus our Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Google Plus, and YouTube posts.
Sports fun. You can post your videos and eyewitness reports.
Brilla, B-R-I-L-A. Available for download on Google Play and the Apple iTunes Store.
Secure an instant win with NairaBet when your team leads by 2 goals in the match. How many times has one of your betting selections had a meltdown after going 2 goals up? Don't stress. With our new 2 goals up market, if your selection goes 2 or more goals ahead at any stage in the match, then your selection will be settled as a winner, regardless of the final match result. Place your bets on the 2 goals up football market at www.nairabet.com. Include the 2 goals up selections in your bet slip with as many other selections as you want. For more details, check out our promotions page. Full terms and conditions apply. Must be over 18. Bets placed on the match winner market do not qualify. Market available on pre-match bets only. Please gamble responsibly.
You are listening to Football Live.
Let's get back to the action on Football Live. Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Alex Guilford.
Yes, hello, welcome back to Football Live, exclusive to Brilla FM. Just to remind you of the scores in our 2 12:30 kickoffs here. It is Sunderland 0, Middlesbrough 2, Sunderland down to 10 men, and it's Luton Town, most importantly, 0, Tottenham Hotspur 1. Tottenham Hotspur themselves are down to 10 men. We're going to have an update now from Matt Smith. We're going to go to Kenilworth Road in a second and get an update on what is going on there between Luton Town and Tottenham Hotspur. So Matt Smith at Kenilworth Road, have you got an update for us there? I think there's been a few substitutions.
There has indeed, Alex. Yes, Luton, I said that they were maybe going to be throwing the kitchen sink, and it seems to be that's what they're doing. Tahith Chong is on, Cauley Woodrow is on, and Luke Berry is on. Jacob Brown off, and Panzu off, and Elijah Adebayo off. So again, 2 attacking changes there. Cauley Woodrow and Tahith Chong, a little bit of creativity, and Cauley Woodrow is a lump, may I say. So if he's going to be partnering Carlton Morris up top, I think that's the way they're going to play. Maybe the long ball game. And just as you come to me there, Cauley Woodrow has already tested Guglielmo Vicario in goal. He's a bit of a nothing shot, really, nothing to it, but he's found himself sort of just on the edge of the box, and he's sort of leaning away, and he drags the shot into the ground. So it's a nothing chance, but it's just little signs there that Luton might have a little bit of freshness on the pitch. 68 minutes played, Luton 0, Tottenham Hotspur 1.
Thank you very much, Matt Smith, keeping us up to date with proceedings at Kenilworth Road. We're going to go up north to Ethan Gardner now. Ethan's got an update to us for the players on the pitch as well, haven't you, Ethan?
Yes, indeed. Both teams making some changes now. Sunderland, of course, going to have to do something drastic with just over 24 minutes left to play here. They've actually taken off a young French winger Abdoulaye Ba and brought on central midfielder Chris Rigg. And also there was a note that came on with Chris Rigg that was passed around the Sunderland players, a handwritten note, quite old school. Clearly something is being changed by the manager Tony Mowbray. And for Middlesbrough, they have actually also made 2 changes. The scorer of the second goal, Matt Crooks, has left the field. And notably, an interesting substitution to bring on Emmanuel Latalaf, who came through the academy of Italian side Atalanta and has scored 2 in his first 5 for Middlesbrough. Has come on. So potentially Middlesbrough going for even more here. They're obviously climbing the table, as you've mentioned previously. They are on very good form. So perhaps they're looking to pad out the goal difference with that man advantage. Sunderland, it's not looking good. There was a damning stat that came out before the game between the 2 sides. The experience of Middlesbrough, they've got almost double the amount of championship appearances in their squad today than Sunderland. So you think if anyone was going to have the know-how to see out a 2-goal lead today, it would be them. After 67 minutes, it is Sunderland 0, Middlesbrough 2.
Thank you very much, Ethan. That's Sunderland 0, Middlesbrough 2. Sunderland down to 10 men. We've got an update from Matt Smith. We're going to go back down to Kenilworth Road. It's been a busy second half for you, Matt.
It has indeed, and Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, the man who replaced Yves Bissouma, has just been booked. Can you believe it? I don't want to tempt fate and say that Højbjerg might be careful here, but he's that sort of player that maybe will have to make a foul if he needs to, and could get himself sent off. I can't believe I'm quite saying that, but Postecoglou may want to maybe try and change it. I don't know. If Højbjerg's going to get a second yellow card, that's 2 centre midfielders sent off, but he's maybe got to be careful. He's got 20 minutes remaining. Luton, meanwhile, I mean, they're trying their very best. You know, they've had very good spells the past 10 minutes. You know, the likes of Chong and Woodrow coming on, just offering something different for Luton. But Spurs are remaining resolute. You know, they've had a couple of corner kicks, Luton, but nothing really troubling the back five, including the goalkeeper for Spurs. I think they're probably going to hold on, but you never know with the Premier League. It's Luton 0, Tottenham Hotspur 1 after 70 minutes.
Thank you very much, Matt. We'll be heading back to him for some more updates as the second half unfolds between Luton Town and Tottenham Hotspur. Just looking at the stats for that game here, you can see that Luton have been toiling away. 26% possession only for the home side to Tottenham Hotspur's 74. They have managed 9 shots, Luton, but they've only managed to get 2 on target compared to Tottenham's 15 shots at goal with 4 of those on target. Luton have had 1 corner to Tottenham's 5. They've committed a lot of fouls though, Luton, 14 to Tottenham's 5. Rung a few changes now has Rob Edwards in a bid to perhaps slightly introduce a slightly more attritional style of play, slightly more route one stuff for Luton for the remaining 20 minutes or so of normal time that's left in that game. And we have got another goal for you here on Football Live.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Yes, there's been another goal at the Stadium of Light in the game between Sunderland and Middlesbrough, and it has gone the way of the away side. Middlesbrough, a man to the good after Sunderland went down to 10 men towards the end of the first half, and Middlesbrough have made that man advantage pay here, and they are now 3 goals to the good. Goodness me, it's turning into a great afternoon for Michael Carrick's Middlesbrough side, who came into this game with 3 wins on the spin, didn't they? Playing really well in the league, in particularly, it should be noted, sort of in the last 3 games or so. It looks like it'll be 4 victories on the spin for them. Sunderland were unbeaten in their last 2 home meetings between these two sides, but unless there's a really drastic change in proceedings in that game, it looks like Michael Carrick's men are going to be going home with all 3 points, having just secured their 3rd goal of the afternoon. So that's Sunderland 0, Middlesbrough 3 at the moment at the Stadium of Light. Will be going to Ethan Gardner in a couple of moments' time to get all the details of that 3rd goal in that game, that 12:30 kickoff in the Championship. Borough's last away win at Sunderland was in, where was it? It was August 2016. Goodness me. So there's a fascinating game unfolding there at the Stadium of Light. Just to remind you, the other game this afternoon that we are covering here for you on Football Live, it's Luton Town against Tottenham. Tottenham Hotspur currently a goal to the good, which means that they are actually top of the table as it stands. 2 points above Man City. They sit if this scoreline stays the same, or indeed if they score another and take all 3 points with them. So they will be top until after Arsenal against Manchester City, which we are, of course, covering tomorrow on Football Live for you as well. All of the big Premier League games tomorrow afternoon we will be across here on Football Live. So I think it's finally time to join Ethan Gardner up at the Stadium of Light. Ethan, it was a goalless first half. It's been quite the opposite second half. It's 3-0 to Middlesbrough. Tell us all about it.
Game, set and match. Middlesbrough surely barring something absolutely miraculous from the Black Cats here at the Stadium of Light. It's Isaiah Jones who assisted the second, who has scored the third. The ball came through to him having won it back in the midfield. He found himself approaching the goalkeeper and the defence, cut inside and slotted the ball into the net. It's a really, really nice goal. The Sunderland fans already heading for the exits. There is still over 15 minutes to play here, but clearly even the home fans believe that will now be it. After 73 minutes, Sunderland 0, Middlesbrough 3.
Lovely stuff. Thank you, Ethan. It certainly does look like it's game, set and match at the moment. Middlesbrough 3-0 up away at Sunderland, and Middlesbrough a man to the good as well. We're going to go back to Kenilworth Road and get an update from our correspondent there, our senior reporter Matt Smith, in the game between Luton Town and Tottenham Hotspur. Luton 0, Tottenham 1 when we last spoke. There hasn't been a change to the scoreline yet, has there, Matt?
There hasn't been a change to the scoreline, but there's been a change to the 11 outfield players for Spurs. Emerson Royale is on, as well as Oliver Skipp. He's joined the field of play as well, and Heung-min Son is off, and James Maddison is off. So Ange Postecoglou may be wanting to rest them for games to come. It's maybe a game that he sees is maybe dead and buried. I can't believe I'm saying that, but it might not be. Luton had a very good chance about 2 or 3 minutes to go through Alfie Doughty, who's bombing down that right wing. He's changing wings quite a lot, and he's sort of from the right. He's beaten one player and he's tucked himself onto his left foot, and he's forced a very good save from Vicario. Went out for a corner. Luton had a spell of about 3 or 4 corners on the bounce and putting a little bit of pressure on the Spurs defence. I think Christian Romero has now been given the captain's armband after Heung-min Son exited the field of play. But 76 minutes played, Luton 0, Tottenham 1, and just seems to be settling down a little bit.
Excellent stuff. Thank you very much, Matt Smith, our senior reporter, keeping us up to date with what's going on between Luton Town and Tottenham Hotspur at Kenilworth Road. Just to remind you of the scores in our 2 games, it's Luton 0, Tottenham Hotspur 1. Tottenham a goal to the good, but down to 10 men. And in the Championship, it's Sunderland 0, Middlesbrough 3. Sunderland, the home side, are down to 10 men themselves. Both games had red cards late towards the end of the first half. And both games have gone in slightly different directions, though. The team down to 10 men. Well, obviously, Tottenham are down to 10 men. They're a goal up now and playing fairly well by the sounds of it. Luton Town just perhaps showing a little bit of their sort of naivety. They're unproven at this level a little bit, aren't they? All things considered, they've done wonderfully to get into the Premier League this season. They had their first victory in midweek against Burnley. They lost to Burnley. They had the first win last weekend at Everton. Played pretty well through long periods of that as well. I'm delighted to be joined here on Football Live by Matthew Key. Matthew is going to be joining us from the Signal Iduna Park for the game between Borussia Dortmund and Union Berlin. And I believe, Matthew, you've got some team news for us.
Yes, that's right, Alex. Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to our Football Live listeners. And yeah, it's a big clash here in Germany between 2 teams that featured midweek in the Champions League. Obviously, Borussia Dortmund used to be in here. Union Berlin still getting used to being one of the heavyweights of German football and playing a couple of times per week. So both teams have rung the changes from their midweek action. Both would have been disappointed with their results. Dortmund only managing a draw at home to Milan, while Union Berlin suffered heartbreak in the last minute against Braga at home. So for Borussia Dortmund, there's a couple of changes. Haller goes out of the team up top and he's replaced by Füllkrug, new signing in the summer, someone that of course has such a good record in Germany. So he's come in to lead the line for Dortmund today. That is the headline news from their point of view. And then for Union Berlin, as I say, heartbreak in the last minute for them. And they've also made a couple of changes. Becker, who managed to score in midweek off the bench, he is rewarded with a starting place. So he will lead the line alongside Behrens for the away side. Looking forward to this one. Kick-off in about 20 minutes time. It's Borussia Dortmund versus Union Berlin here at the Signal Iduna Park in the Bundesliga.
Thank you very much, Matthew Key. We'll be coming back to you for updates in that game throughout the afternoon. There may be a bit of crossover between that game and our two English games this afternoon. We've got our feature game between Luton Town and Tottenham Hotspur in the Premier League. They've got about 10 minutes of normal time left to play, and it's currently Luton 0, Tottenham 1. The 10 men of Tottenham have certainly done an impressive job. Their manager Ange Postecoglou, who we anticipated might be spitting feathers at half-time. He'll be really pleased with the way his side have played in the second half. They've contained Luton's route one and counter-attacking threat and managed to nick themselves a goal through their defender Mickey van der Ven. And in the game in the Championship, the Wears Tees derby between Sunderland and Middlesbrough. It is Sunderland 0, Middlesbrough 3, with the home side Sunderland down to 10 men. So we'll be keeping you up to date with proceedings, both of those games. I think we're immediately going to cut to Matt Smith, who is at Kenilworth Road. There's a bit of a stalemate underway between these two sides, but Matt, there's also been a substitution with the home side looking to just try and make a change.
Yes, absolutely. I think it's about time. We're in the 81st, sort of going into the 82nd minute now, and Rob Edwards is really giving his team as best as they can get. Ross Barkley's just entered the field of play, and Tom Locke has had to come off, so he's given the armband, I believe, to Marvelous Nakamba. So it's just a case of now trying to get an equaliser, trying to get something from this game. They have an advantage in terms of the men on this field, and they've had corners, they've had set pieces, they haven't really had any out and out chances. But Luton are still knocking on this door. They're trying their very best. It's not like they've rolled over and just accepted defeat. They're still going for it. And Tottenham are remaining resolute. Destiny Adoji has just come off for Ben Davis again. Probably just a little bit of fresh legs at the back, just to try and remain resolute for Spurs. But Postecoglou is holding on here. Kulusevski's a false nine. They are really trying to sit back and soak up the pressure. But it is 82 minutes played. Luton Town 0, Tottenham Hotspur 1.
Thank you very much, Matt Smith. Keeping us up to date with proceedings at Kenilworth Road. Still this afternoon, we're going to go to the Stadium of Light to join Ethan Gardner, where the home side, despite being 3 goals down and a man down, are not completely rolling over here, Ethan.
Well, no. Initially, I had thought they'd actually given up on the game, taking off star attacker Jack Clark. But his replacement, Rusin, the Ukrainian winger, is the man who's taken this chance. Or not taken, but had a chance. He was in on the goalkeeper, Seny Dieng, who has impressively saved the ball again, but it was a good low shot. And the ball was won by Sunderland quite high up the field. They're still pressing, still trying to work their way back into this game, even though there is only 10 minutes left, and it remains Sunderland 0, Middlesbrough 3.
Thank you very much, Ethan. Just going to give you a quick update from the other matches around Europe the rest of the afternoon, the games that have kicked off. Inter Milan are at home to Bologna. They've only played 15 minutes in that game, and the home side, Inter Milan, are 2-0 to the good over Bologna. So things going very well there for Inzaghi's men. Over in Spain, the early kickoff was Cadiz against Girona, depending on how Spanishly you want to pronounce it. The home side Cadiz, though, are down to 10 men, and it is still 0-0, but the advantage possibly with table-topping Girona, who are part of the Manchester City, they're part of the City group of club ownerships, and so Girona perhaps with a slight advantage there and a possible opportunity in a position to potentially get themselves a goal to the good there, despite it currently being 0-0. I'm delighted now to be joined by our Naira Bet expert by the looks of it, Ayo Alabi. Ayo, are you there? Can you hear me, mate?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm in Old Trafford, so bear with me with the service might not be the greatest, but hopefully we'll get through the 3 to 5 minutes without much problems.
I'm sure we'll be able to, Ayo. Thanks very much for joining us. You say you're at Old Trafford. I believe you're going to give us an update on the odds from the game there between Manchester United are hosting Brentford as well as Burnley are at home to Chelsea. Ayo, what can you tell us?
Team news is out, and what every Manchester United fan has been craving is for Sofiane Amrabat to be in the midfield. to help Casemiro out. He's been playing left back since he made his debut during the last 2 to 3 weeks or so. But today, he moved into the midfield. And as a result of that change alone, every United fan today is hopeful that United can retain the ball better, because that's the problem. That's the problem we've had, retaining the ball and losing the ball consistently. And that is reflected in the odds. United are favourites to win this game. United are, with Naira bets, are 1.70 to win the game. The draw is 4.20 and Brentford is 4.75. I believe United will win this game today. And of course, I'll back United at 1.70. But a lot of people might think that's not a good price. That's not for a team who's been out of form, for a team who have lost 5 out of their last 7, who don't seem to be getting anything right at this moment. A lot of people think it's a draw, but a draw is 4.20. But I think United will win 1.70. I think Rasmus Højlund will be the first goal scorer, and as his price is 6.00 to be the first goal scorer. It's a shocking price. It's not scored in the Premier League. Yes, he scored goals in the Champions League, which lit up Old Trafford against Galatasaray and they went to Bayern Munich. However, the Premier League is the bread and butter. For me, 6.00 is a shocking price for Højlund to be the first goal scorer. I may end up having egg on my face, but at the same time, at the end of the game, I may have egg on my face if he scores the first goal, but 6.00 is not too smart. I will go for something like Bruno Fernandes starting the game on the right wing again today, or Sofiane Amrabat. So I was talking to one of my mates just some minutes ago. They've gone for Sofiane Amrabat to score the first goal. And Amrabat to score the first goal is 20.00. That's a huge price. And I would rather gamble on something with a huge price like that. But United to win at 1.70 is the simple bet in that game for me.
Lovely stuff. Thank you, Ao. So you think it's criminal that Haaland is such long odds to score? He has struggled a little bit in front of goal recently, hasn't he? But why don't you tell us a little bit about the other feature game we've got here on Football Live this afternoon between Burnley and Chelsea? What are the markets looking like for that one?
Again, Chelsea is another one. A bit of a curious team, Chelsea. I gave them no hope last week when I spoke to, I don't know, I can't remember if it was you I spoke to last week. I gave them absolutely zero chance. And I got a lot of pelters on Instagram. My DM was full of Chelsea fans telling me, you give us no chance in the derby, form goes out the window. Yes, the form goes out the window, but when you're playing so poorly, playing so shoddily as Chelsea have been playing, you wouldn't back them. You'd be foolish to back them. And again, at 1.75 today, I don't think they're out of the woods here, Chelsea. 1.75 to win the game, away at Burnley, while a draw is 3.80. At Burnley at 4.50, if you're a Burnley fan, you'll be getting on that big time. Because at 4.50, I think it's a good price. I think it's a good price. However, I'm thinking in this game that it's going to be a draw. My tip of this game is 3.80 for a draw. But there are other interesting markets. Burnley to win 1-0. A draw is at 8.50. Sorry, a draw is at 4 points. Sorry, what did I call it again? I've just lost my mind there. A draw
I think it's 4.0.
Yeah, 3.80 for a draw. But a 0-0 draw is 8.50, while a 1-1 draw is 7.00. Burnley fans, if you think there's going to be magic, you're going to win 1-0, 12.00, or 2-0, same price with Chelsea to win. Same price with Chelsea to win 2-0 at 8.00 and 1-0, 7.00. Go on the website. People, I can't give obviously all the major odds here. You need to go on the website and you see all the juicy odds. The bet builder, everything is there. First team to score, neither team to score. I actually thought neither team to score in this game at 11.00 is better than a 0-0 draw. If you get what I mean. So it's still 0-0, but the price is better.
Interesting.
It's only that when an own goal happens, it won. It alters the whole landscape completely. But neither team to score 11.00. It's a cracking price in that game. 0-0.
Lovely stuff. Thank you very much. Ao, keep your eyes on nairabet.com. Keep your eyes on the website for all the latest odds. But I'm pleased to announce that here on Football Live, we have got another goal.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Yeah, that's right. We have got another goal at the Stadium of Light between Sunderland and Middlesbrough. It has, perhaps unsurprisingly, gone the way of the away side. Michael Carrick's Middlesbrough team were, a few moments ago, 3 goals to the good, as well as a man to the good after Sunderland got reduced to 10 men just before half-time. And it's now 4-0 to the away side. So pretty convincing, pretty resounding scoreline up in the northeast of England. Lots for our reporter Ethan Gardner to get his teeth stuck into, particularly in the second half, after a pretty quiet and slightly dull opening exchange, opening first period. We're going to go down to Kenilworth Road for now and get a little update from the game between Luton and Tottenham Hotspur for a little update, quick update from Matt Smith before we get that report on that 4th goal from Ethan. So, Matt Smith, what you got for us?
Well, we've got 5 added minutes here at Kenilworth Road. Luton have tried their very, very best. The second half is much more positive than the first. And just as you come to me, Alejo Veliz, the 20-year-old Argentinian, is entering the field of play. He's only played 8 minutes for Tottenham's first team. He's coming on for Dejan Kulusevski, so maybe a little bit of time to use the kids, as managers would say. But Postecoglou's given this Argentinian boy a good little 5-minute spell here against Luton. 91 minutes played, Luton Town 0, Tottenham Hotspur 1, and it seems like it could finish that way.
Goodness me, a sign perhaps of Ange Postecoglou's confidence that he's bringing on the youngsters at this stage, despite being just a goal up and down to 10 men at Luton. We are going to hear from Ethan Gardner now, who's at the Stadium of Light and witnessing, as I mentioned a few seconds ago, Ethan, very, very different second half to the first half, which you said had been a bit of a bore fest.
Yes, well, in the second half, Sunderland have completely crumbled, especially after that red card late on in the first half. And the 4th goal here has fallen to Marcus Force. A chance was worked for striker Emmanuel Latelaf. His shot came across from the Ivorian forward. It was saved by Sunderland goalkeeper Patterson, who I said earlier was going to have a good afternoon if Sunderland were to get anything. And unfortunately for him, it hasn't gone his way. His save fell to the feet of Finnish striker Marcus Force, and that makes it 4-0 to Middlesbrough here. Their good form continues. Sunderland, however, are going to be left scratching their heads after this one. Back to the drawing board, hopefully, for them to re-pick up some form. After 90 minutes, we have 5 minutes added on here, but after 90 minutes, it is Sunderland 0, Middlesbrough 4.
Thank you very much, Matt Smith. We'll be back to you for a full-time report before too long, I am sure. But just to remind you that in the dying embers of the game, it is Sunderland 0, Middlesbrough 0. And in the dying embers of the 12:30 Premier League kickoff between Luton Town and Tottenham Hotspur, it is Luton Town 0, Tottenham Hotspur 1. Tottenham down to 10 men after Yves Bissouma was sent off towards the end of the first half. Just to remind you, we've got Borussia Dortmund against Union Berlin. Updates from there coming up from that game. Kicks off at 2:30. We've got about a minute left of added time at Luton against Tottenham left to play there. So just remind you of our 3 p.m. Premier League kickoffs. Those are Burnley against Chelsea, Manchester United against Brentford, Fulham against Sheffield United, and Everton v Bournemouth. So we will be getting an update once the full-time whistle finally blows at Kenilworth Road. Luton unable, it looks like, at this stage, but don't completely write them off yet, but it looks like they are unable to extend on their very impressive performance last weekend away at Everton. They didn't play badly against Burnley, it should be said, in midweek on Tuesday evening, but that was Burnley's first victory of the season in the league. So a slightly more impressive result, obviously, for Burnley that evening. And Luton Town really toiled this afternoon by the sounds of things at home to Tottenham Hotspur. They've had a man advantage for 45 minutes, but they just haven't been able to turn that into anything particularly meaningful, so to speak. They haven't been able to turn that into a goal scoring opportunity, really. They've only had 32% possession, which, given that they've played with 10 men for probably the majority of this game, but just over half of it, compared to Tottenham's 68% possession. Luton have managed 11 shots with that 32%, but they've only managed to get 2 on target. They've only been able to work Vicario in the Tottenham Hotspur goal on 2 occasions. Tottenham have had better, well, they've had more possession, and they've been able to do a little bit more with it. 15 shots compared to Luton's 11, and they've managed to have 4 shots on target as well, Tottenham Hotspur. So they certainly will go home the happier of the two sides, Tottenham Hotspur and Ange Postecoglou. They obviously were involved in that extremely controversial offside decision last weekend on Sunday, where Luis Diaz's goal was disallowed for offside, even though I think it was Mohamed Salah at the time who played the ball to Luis Diaz was very clearly onside at the time. We're going to hear in a few moments' time what Jurgen Klopp had to say about that after the game. He thinks the game should be replayed. So when we do go to FJ back in Nigeria, do give him a call and do let him know what you make of that. Does it set a dangerous precedent, or would that perhaps be justice for Liverpool, given the stage the game was at, given the balance of the game at that particular point? They were a man down but managed to get themselves a goal ahead, and then Tottenham immediately went up the other end and put themselves ahead when they should have perhaps at that point been pulling themselves level. But at the time, of course, there's no telling exactly what would have happened. The game might have been in a slightly different emotional state. The game might have been in a slightly different sort of physical structure as well. So we're just waiting for the final few moments of the game at Kenilworth Road to unfold before we get a quick debrief from Matt Smith. And I think actually it sounds like Matt Smith might be ready to go. Matt Smith, it sounds like it's been a pretty entertaining 1-0 victory for the away side here.
It has. It's finished here at Kenilworth Road. It's Luton Town 0, Tottenham Hotspur 1. A very frustrating first half for Tottenham, and it got even more frustrating after all their shots in the first half, and it turned to anger when Yves Bissouma dived terribly on the edge of the box to receive his second yellow card and put his team down to 10 men. So half-time, Ange Postecoglou's got a job on his hand, and Luton had a huge chance to take the lead early in the second half. Chiedozie Agboni had 2 men in the box on a counter-attack. He picked out Elijah Adebayo, but the 6'4" striker scuffed the shot completely and put it wide. Where Luton failed to take advantage, Tottenham said, "We'll show you how it's done." James Maddison received the ball short from a corner, jinked it round a Luton defender and cut it back to centre-back Mickey van der Ven, who calmly finished it past Thomas Kaminski to make it 1-0 Tottenham. Luton did throw everything at Spurs in the second half, but to no avail. And now Tottenham gain all 3 points thanks to that Mickey van der Ven goal, despite being down to 10 men for the entire second half. And now, believe it or not, sit at the top of the league. Spurs and their North London rivals Arsenal are the only unbeaten sides in the Premier League. It's finished at Kenilworth Road. Luton 0, Tottenham Hotspur 1.
Thank you very much, Matt Smith. Thanks for all of your updates and your hard work throughout the afternoon. Matt will be speaking to you very soon, I'm sure. This is Football Live.
Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Alex Guilford.
Yes, hello, welcome back to Football Live, live and exclusive on Brilla FM. We've got Premier League action for you in all the 3 p.m. kickoffs. We're going to look forward to those games in just a few seconds. But before we do that, there has been a goal here on Football Live.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Yes, that's right. In our 2:30 game between Borussia Dortmund and Union Berlin, there's been a goal. There's been 3. And we're going to hand over to Matthew Key. Matthew, what can you tell us?
Yes, well, good afternoon again, Alex. What a crazy start we've had in the first 20 minutes here. Let me just run through it quickly for you. So Borussia Dortmund actually took the lead. Nicholas Füllkrug that scored. It was header from a corner, the keeper saved onto the post, fell back to Füllkrug, and he reacted really well to make a save, to follow in and score. He was then scoring at the wrong end, about 10 minutes later, so on 15 minutes, a corner this time for Union Berlin was diverted into his own goal by Füllkrug from hero to zero. Nothing really could do about it. Tried to get the clearance, but sadly for him headed it into his own nets. That was 1-0. Union thought they'd taken the lead a couple of minutes ago. It was Krau, again another corner, another header, this time from a free kick. Brilliant header into the goal. And Krau then was taken off for Toussaint. I don't know whether it was an injury. It certainly didn't look like it when he headed the ball, but he's gone off. And what's just happened is, after about 5 minutes and a lengthy VAR check, we thought the goal had been given. It's now been ruled out for offside. It looked very, very close. Obviously was, given the amount of time they looked at it. The goal has been disallowed. So it's not 2-1 to Union Berlin. It's level pegging at 1-1. We've played 23 minutes here now in Germany. A crazy 23 minutes. But the score is Borussia Dortmund 1, Union Berlin 1.
Thank you very much, Matthew. A busy afternoon in the offing for you there. Not quite as busy as Nicholas Füllkrug's afternoon has been, but we'll be back to Matthew for updates from the Signal Iduna Park as and when we need to get them. Here in England, though, we've got Premier League action for you, and it feels right to start with Manchester United, first of all. A disappointing result last weekend, disappointing midweek result. I'm delighted to be joined by Andrew Buonocore. Andrew, thanks for joining us. You've got some team news for us.
Absolutely, and thank you for the wonderful pronunciation of my name. So Man United are really stumbling from game to game, and a defeat to Brentford at home would put the Red Devils into a full-blown crisis mode. But no one's really talking about Brentford's problems, but they are without a win in 5 games. Ten Hag is still robbed of several injured players, and today releases new boy Sofian Amrabat from his left-back duty as he starts in midfield alongside Mason Mount. Huge news, though, is that Harry Maguire and Johnny Evans are the starting central defensive partnership. That's for the first time since May 2019, where they were both at Leicester City. Up front, Rashford and Højlund will be looking to get the goals. Those full lineups, United have Onana in goal, Lindelof, Maguire, Evans and Dalot across the back, with Casemiro and Amrabat on defensive midfield duty. Fernandes, Mount and Rashford sit further forward, with Rasmus Højlund on his own up front. For the Bees, they've got Strakosha coming in between the sticks, and the back three of Collins, Pinnock and Ayer. Roslev, Jensen, Norgard, Janelt and Hickey pack that midfield, and they have a front two of Mbumo and Wissa. An important game for both sides, possibly more so for United than for the Bees. At Old Trafford, it's Manchester United versus Brentford.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Really looking forward to how that one unfolds this afternoon. Our other feature game in the Premier League is, of course, Burnley against Chelsea, and we're joined at Turf Moor by Jackson Cole. Jackson, both these sides have been feeling pretty optimistic after their performances earlier in the week. Both registered victories, which perhaps not necessarily all of us saw coming. What do these starting lineups look like this afternoon?
Yeah, hi Alex, good afternoon everyone. Well, after dismal starts for both sides to the season, they can perhaps look forward to a brighter future, having both recorded wins in their last outings during the week. Chelsea won 2-0 at Fulham on Monday night, but they will be without one of their goal scorers in Mihajlo Mudryk, who withdraws with a quad injury. Raheem Sterling, snubbed for a 4th successive England squad, comes in his place. The full Chelsea team is Robert Sanchez in goal. Then you have Marc Cucurella, Thiago Silva, Axel Disasi, Levi Colwill, Enzo Fernandez, Moises Caicedo, Conor Gallagher, Sterling, Cole Palmer and Armando Broja. As for Burnley, they finally got their first league win of the season with a hard-fought triumph at fellow newly promoted side Luton Town. But manager Vincent Kompany has made 4 changes from the side that won on Tuesday, with Coutinho, Mike Trésor, Han Delcroix and 18-year-old French winger Wilson Odobert coming in. The full team is James Trafford in goal, then it's Vitinho, Amin Al-Dakhil, Delcroix, Charlie Taylor, Sander Berge, Josh Cullen, Josh Brownhill, Odobert, Trésor and Lyle Foster. Italy youth star Luca Koleosho, who's eligible to play for Nigeria, is on the bench. Momentum is what both sides want, but both won't have it by the end of the afternoon. It's Burnley versus Chelsea with kickoff coming up.
Thank you very much indeed, Jackson. I think we've got a goal to bring you here on Football Live as well.
the goals. Powered by NairaBet.
I say there might be a goal to bring you from the Signal Iduna Park. Matthew Key is currently just keeping atop of events as they unfold there. There is a VAR check on a potential Borussia Dortmund goal. We were wondering if either Marco Reus or Niklas Füllkrug, who, if it was him that scored, has had one of the most eventful afternoons ever. He's already got a goal to his name. He's already got an own goal to his name as well. We've only played 28 minutes or so we'll be heading over to our correspondent at the Signal Iduna Park, Matthew Key, in a few moments' time, just so he can give us the lowdown on goings on there. Just to remind you of our fixtures for the rest of the afternoon here on Football Live. We've got that game at Borussia Dortmund between themselves and Union Berlin. That's currently underway and half an hour played. We've also got Burnley v Chelsea, Manchester United v Brentford, Fulham v Sheffield United, and Everton versus Bournemouth that we are keeping you abreast of. The late kickoff in the Premier League this afternoon is Crystal Palace against Nottingham Forest. I think we are going to go to Matthew Key in Germany now. If we've got Matthew, we've got him on the line there. Matthew, we thought there might be another goal to what's already been a very lively game, but VAR has intervened.
Yes, that's right, Alex. I hope you're managing to keep up with this one. I'm struggling myself, I must admit. But for the second time today, it is still 1-1 between Borussia Dortmund and Union Berlin. It was Dortmund that thought they'd gone ahead this time. It was Füllkrug again, can you believe it? A brilliant ball whipped in from Marco Reus. At first, I wasn't sure if it had gone straight in. He was definitely trying to cross it, but one of those that was in such a dangerous area for the defenders and goalkeeper. Thought it might have gone straight in, but the replay showed that Füllkrug got a little nick on it, and that was crucial because he was standing just ever so slightly in an offside position. The goal was given to start with. Once again, it was a lengthy VAR check, but they've got the right decision in the end. That's what we like to see. So both teams scored a goal each. Both teams had one ruled out, and Füllkrug is having one hell of an afternoon so far. We've now played half an hour, and it's still just about Borussia Dortmund 1, Union Berlin 1.
Lovely stuff. Thank you, Matthew, at the Signal Iduna Park for us this afternoon. We've updated you with the lineups for the 3 o'clock games between Burnley and Chelsea and Manchester United versus Brentford. And as we've already kicked off in the Fulham against Sheffield United game, it feels appropriate that that's where we go next with Kane Weirs.
Afternoon, Alex. Fulham and Sheffield United coming into today's game being the joint lowest scorers in the Premier League this season. Carlos Vinicius starts up front for Fulham as one of 3 changes made by Marco Silva from their 2-0 defeat to Chelsea on Monday. Raul Jimenez drops to the bench along with Harry Wilson and Harrison Reed, and Nigerian international Alex Iwobi comes in to make his first Premier League start for the club along with Decordova Reed in a new front 3 lineup. Sheffield United coming to today's game still searching for the first win of the season, and manager Paul Heckingbottom has also made 3 changes to the side following their 2-0 defeat to West Ham. Chris Basham comes into captain the side along with Trusty and Oliver Norwood. So basking in the sunshine at Craven Cottage, just kicked off. It is Fulham 0, Sheffield United 0.
Lovely stuff. Thank you very much, Matthew. There's plenty going on. There's more going on, would you believe, in the game between Borussia Dortmund and Union Berlin. But before we go there, we're going to get an update from the game between Everton and Bournemouth. We're joined by Ash Sanderford at Goodison Park this afternoon. Ash, what can you tell us?
Yeah, quiet start here at Goodison Park. It's currently Everton 0, Bournemouth 0. Quiet start, not really much happening, and both sides really for Mark. There's been one change for Everton today from that 2-1 defeat against Luton. Jack Harrison comes in, the on-loan player from Leeds, for Amadou Onana, and he just makes that change. One change for Sean Dyche and his men, and 2 changes for Bournemouth because there was a disappointing performance last season against Arsenal, with Adam Smith coming in from Max Aarons. He drops to the bench, and Dango Utaria comes in for Justin Kluivert. But as it stands, about 3 minutes in, Everton 0, Bournemouth 0.
Thank you very much, Ash. There's been another goal here on Football Live.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
There's even more going on in that game between Borussia Dortmund and Union Berlin. And we are going over to Matthew Key for an update. Matthew, what can you tell us?
I can tell you there's been another goal, and it is all changed from 1-0 down. Union Berlin have taken the lead, and this one will count. It was a penalty just moments after that VAR check. Dortmund thought they'd got in front. Union went down the other end of the pitch, and it was a through ball. Becker and Hummels chasing onto it. It was just a matter of who got there first, and it was crucially the Union Berlin forward that managed to get there first. Hummels kicked him, missed the ball. Referee had to go to the screen, penalty given, and then you go from one veteran centre-back in Hummels to another, Leonardo Bonucci, the Italian international, 36 years old. He steps up and calmly slots the penalty, right-hand side of the goal, sent the goalkeeper the wrong way, and at 36 years old, scores his first Bundesliga goal, and it gives Union Berlin the lead here. Still an absolute crazy game here. 33 minutes gone. Dortmund 1, Union Berlin 2.
Thank you very much, Matthew Key. What a game unfolding there at the Signal Iduna Park. Borussia Dortmund 1, Union Berlin 2. Just to remind you that both sides have had a goal disallowed by VAR after it was initially given. Seconds ago, it was Borussia Dortmund's turn. They thought they'd gone 2-1 up, and then Union Berlin were awarded a penalty barely a few seconds later for a foul by Mats Hummels, and they've gone 2-1. And the other games in the Premier League have all kicked off now, so they're all underway. They're still 0-0. Just to remind you what's going on in La Liga, it's Cadiz 0, Girona 1. Real Madrid are kicking off at 3:15, so we'll bring you live scores from that. They're playing Osasuna. In Serie A, the early kickoff there is between Inter Milan and Bologna, and it's currently 2-1 to the home side, Inter Milan. But we're going to have a quick ad break here on Football Live. Don't forget, you are listening to Football Live.
4 hours of football every Saturday and Sunday. You are listening to Football Live on Brila FM.
Calling all high flyers who fancies a free flight on us. Naira Vegas are making it rain with 1 million, yes, 1 million free flights on Aviator. Claim unlimited flights with no minimum stake. The sky's the limit. Every day it will randomly rain free flights through the chat feature. Simply place your bets on Aviator and watch it rain free flights in the chat. Make sure you board the plane. You wouldn't want to miss out on a maximum multiplier of times 250,000. Full terms and conditions apply. Must click claim in the chat to be rewarded. Free flights for Aviator only. Must be 18+. Please play responsibly.
Take Brila anywhere, everywhere.
Yes, you can take Brila with you anywhere, everywhere.
The Brila app is available for free download on Google Play. It is also there on the Apple iTunes Store. Yes, on Google Play and the Apple iTunes Store.
Look out for the Brila football and microphone logo with the letters BRILA in green colour.
That is our authentic app. It gives you Brila FM, Brila.net, BrilaSports.tv, and all the extra betting tips, live score, plus our Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Google Plus, and YouTube posts.
Sports fun. You can post your videos and eyewitness reports.
Brila, BRILA. Available for download on Google Play and the Apple iTunes Store.
Here we go! Football Live is back tomorrow with Premier League action. Arsenal against Manchester City. Newcastle go to West Ham. It's Brighton at home to Liverpool. And the Midlands derby, Wolves Aston Villa. Also action from the Bundesliga, La Liga and Serie A. Join Chris Baldwin from 2 in the afternoon tomorrow on Football Live, exclusive to Brila FM.
Sports Radio 88.9 Brila FM.
You are listening to Football Live.
Let's get back to the action on Football Live. Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live
with Alex Guilford.
Yes, thank you. I'm Alex Guilford. Welcome to Football Live. If you've just joined us, where have you been? You've missed a hell of an early afternoon of football, but fear not. We have got an excellent remaining couple of hours in store for you. We've got 4 Premier League games on the go at the moment. Burnley v Chelsea, Everton v Bournemouth, Fulham against Sheffield United, Manchester United v Brentford, and we're bringing you updates from Borussia Dortmund against Union Berlin in the Bundesliga in Germany as well. Most importantly, we're going to go to one of our feature games this afternoon. We're going to go to Old Trafford and talk to Andrew Buonocore. Andrew, I just said my own name then. Sorry, Andrew. It's been a slightly frustrating start for the home side.
It has been, but some kind of frustrations at the back as well. They're playing slightly risky at the back. Brentford are definitely targeting Onana and Maguire. Aaron Hickey from a corner going close, just missing about a foot over the bar. But this is going to be, I think this is going to be a great deal of fun this afternoon, Alex.
Good stuff. Thank you very much, Andrew. And there has been a goal here on Football Live.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
That's right. There has been a goal for Everton at Goodison Park in their game against Bournemouth. Everton fans were so unhappy when their side succumbed to a 2-1 defeat last weekend to Luton, who obviously featured in our early game this afternoon, the 12:30 kickoff between themselves and Tottenham Hotspur. Finished 1-0 to Tottenham, despite them going a goal down. But the good news for Everton fans, the Everton faithful, is that Garner has put them a goal to the head. Craig Garner, the former Manchester United midfielder. So we will be getting an update from Ash Sandiford in just a few moments' time. Get an update on what on how the goal unfolded. If you'll just excuse me tripping over my words a little bit, just a little bit worn out, frankly, from everything that's gone on this afternoon. We had 2 red cards in our 12:30 games. There's goals flying in our game in the Bundesliga between Borussia Dortmund and Union Berlin. Just to remind you what happened earlier this afternoon, Luton Town hosted Tottenham Hotspur and went a goal down. But we're going to very quickly join Ash Sandiford. He's at Goodison Park. Ash, what can you tell us about the goal?
Oh, it's a great start for Everton. Fantastic start at Goodison Park, and the home faithful fans are absolutely delighted with Sean Dyche and his men to begin this game. And it's Everton 1, Bournemouth 0. It's a great break down the right-hand side. And I think it's a bit of a slip-up from the Bournemouth centre-half, to be honest with you. He made a huge mistake in the end, and it's a poor mistake from Bournemouth. And in the end, Gardner gets the ball and he just slots it past the goalkeeper. It's a simple finish. And Everton are 1-0 up and really hoping for that first league home win of the season. It's Everton 1, Bournemouth 0, 10 minutes gone.
Thank you very much, Ash. We'll be coming back to you for updates in the game between Everton and Bournemouth at Goodison Park throughout the next couple of hours. We're going to go to Craven Cottage, where Kane Weers is watching the game between Fulham and Sheffield United unfold. Kane, there's been a chance for Fulham.
3 massive chances, Alex, and you can see why Fulham are struggling for goals this season. But Pereira delivers a corner from the right-hand side, and it's controlled by Paulinho on the edge of the box, who hammers the ball forwards towards goal when sees his shot headed off the line. About a minute or so later, Willian picks up the ball on the left-hand side and just cuts in and bends it towards goal and sees his shot well saved by Foderingham. And then again, a lovely sweeping move from Robinson, gets in down the left-hand side and sees his cross nice and low, met in the middle by Deco Dova-Reid, whose first-time efforts blocked by Trusty. Really big opportunities and chances by Fulham, and they need to take them, especially in a game against a fellow rival who at the minute are struggling to score goals as well. But still, about 10 minutes in, it's Fulham 0, Sheffield United 0.
Thank you very much, Ash. So Fulham 0, Sheffield United 0. It's also 0-0 between Burnley and Chelsea, as well as in the game between Manchester United and Brentford. 1-0 to Everton. Garner has put the home side a goal to the good. at Goodison Park. And we're actually going to go back to Ash Sandiford quickly because, Ash, you've got an update on a card in the game between Everton and Bournemouth.
Yeah, still Everton 1, Bournemouth 0. Straightforward yellow card again for Ashley Young. He's kind of been a bit unlucky, to be honest with you. He's kind of tried to just nip the ball off the right back, and he's kind of just got it horribly wrong and just kind of gone over the toe of the young right back. So in the end, it's a bit disappointing that he's got himself a really, really early yellow card, because now he's on the back foot. He's playing right back for Everton. He's going to be run out all day from Solanke and the rest of the Bournemouth squad. So I just believe that this is a really big opportunity now for maybe Sean Dyche to potentially maybe make a change early doors, because he is known to picking up bookings, Ashley Young. But yeah, poor booking for him. He'll be disappointed, but still, as it stands, 12 minutes in, Everton 1, Bournemouth 0.
Thank you very much, Ash. There's also been a booking at Old Trafford. I think we're going to go to the Theatre of Dreams. It hasn't exactly been Dreamland for Manchester United fans in recent weeks, and there's been a booking for the away side, Andrew.
Yes, already midfielder Aaron Hickey has been booked for Brentford. Can't have any arguments as well. He lost the ball in midfield to it was Bruno Fernandes, and as the Portuguese player ghosted past him, Aaron Hickey just tugged his shirt and pulled him back. But as I said, an interesting game here. Brentford definitely seem to have more of a plan, I'd say, than United. They seem a bit disjointed, but they've had quite a bit of possession in and around the Bees box. Højlund is looking very busy. We've already seen one wonderful meme-worthy slide from Harry Maguire in the middle of the park, but I'm really looking forward to this game.
Superb stuff. Thank you very much indeed, Andrew. And there has been a goal here on Football Live.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Goodness me. Well, we said that Burnley were flying high after getting their first league win of the season, and so were Chelsea after getting their first away win of the season against Fulham on Monday night. But Burnley have gone a goal up at Turf Moor to pile the misery on Chelsea. They are in a real rut of form at the moment. And Burnley have gone a goal up fractionally inside 15 minutes. It was Odobert who got the goal for the home side. So we'll be getting an update from Jackson Cole on that game, on that goal in just a few moments' time. Just remind you of all the scores here on Football Live. It's that goal in the game between Burnley and Chelsea makes it 1-0 to Burnley, and that is Everton 1, Bournemouth 0, Fulham 0, Sheffield United 0, Man United 0, Brentford 0, and across Europe it's currently Real Madrid 0, Osasuna 0. They've just kicked off there, just barely a few seconds into the game. In Serie A, Inter Milan were 2-0 up at home to Bologna inside 15 minutes, but it's now 2-2 in that game. So the home side there, Inzaghi's men have got a little bit of work to do if they're to get back into, well, if they're to get back on top there, having started the game so promisingly at home to Bologna, struggling Bologna in the lower echelons of Serie A at the moment. In the Bundesliga, it's we're approaching the half-time whistle now, and it's Borussia Dortmund 1, Union Berlin 2. We'll be joining Matthew Key for a half-time update on that game in a few moments' time. Really, 6 minutes of injury time will be played at the end of the second half, so 5 minutes or so before we join Matthew for that. It's been a lively game there. Both sides have had goals disallowed. Excuse me, after when the score was at 1-1, both sides. There we go. Finally get my words together. Both sides had goals disallowed with the score at 1-1. Dortmund thought they'd equalised, but it was disallowed, and then Union Berlin had a penalty a few moments later. We're going to go to Jackson Cole at Turf Moor to give us an update on that Burnley goal. Jackson, what can you tell us?
Well, what a shock we could have on our hands at Turf Moor. It's Burnley 1, Chelsea 0, and it's one of Vincent Kompany's surprise changes. Wilson Odobert with a goal. It was a lovely finish with his left foot, but full marks to Lyle Foster. It was a lovely solo run from the right to cut inside and then play the ball to Odobert, who did the rest, slotting it past Robert Sanchez. It's come against the run of play, to be honest. Chelsea were looking the more neat and tidy team just a few seconds before Odobert broke the deadlock. Raheem Sterling had a great shot which whistled straight past James Trafford's post. I think the Burnley goalkeeper wouldn't have got there if it was on target, but wow, more misery for Chelsea so far. It's Burnley 1, Chelsea 0.
Thank you very much, Jackson. So, yeah, just to update you on the scores in the Premier League, the 12:30 kickoff between Luton and Tottenham finished 1-0 to Tottenham Hotspur. The away side were down to 10 men on the stroke of half-time after Yves Bissouma got a second yellow card for a very dramatic and unconvincing dive. No sympathy from the referee, but his team were able to come out on top at the final whistle nonetheless, thanks to a goal from their defender Mickey van der Ven. That goal for Burnley means that they are currently 1-0 up to Chelsea at home at Turf Moor. Everton are also a goal up at home to Bournemouth. We've got Fulham 0, Sheffield United 0, and it's still Manchester United 0, Brentford 0 in the game at Old Trafford. We're going to go to Kane Weers, who is at Craven Cottage. Kane, the glaring miss by Fulham.
Yeah, Alex, I don't know how Fulham aren't 1-0 up here, but it's the first time that Sheffield United have actually got a control of the ball and been able to just settle into the game. And Wes Foderingham in goal takes a risk by receiving the ball and trying to Cruyff turn against Vinicius, who's playing up front for Fulham. And then when he does it, he clips the ball straight into Willian. The Sheffield United goalkeeper's not even in his goal, and instead of Willian just hitting it into an open goal, he looks to pass it out wide. So I don't know why, but it should be Fulham 1. It should be, but it is still Fulham 0, Sheffield United 0.
Goodness me, a little bit of overthinking things there by the sounds of it for Willian. We touched on João Palhinha very briefly earlier, what an important player he will be for Fulham for the rest of the season after his failed move to Bayern Munich in the Bundesliga. Just going to give you a quick update of the scores in the Bundesliga, apart from the game that we are following this afternoon between it's Borussia Dortmund and Union Berlin. They're in the dying embers of the first half at the moment, but elsewhere it's Augsburg 0, Darmstadt 0 at half-time. It's RB Leipzig 0, Bochum 0 at half-time. Stuttgart and Wolfsburg are approaching half-time as well, and it's currently 1-0 to Wolfsburg there, and we'll be having our half-time report from Matthew Key in the game that is currently Dortmund 1, Union Berlin 2. In the meantime, we're going to go to Old Trafford and have a quick chat with Andrew Buonocore, because the home side, Manchester United, just looking a little bit more settled now. Andrew.
Absolutely, they really are playing their way into this game, but Harry Maguire had to say he really is trying too hard to make an impact. He was quite late in on Brian Mbeumo and lucky not to get a yellow. Just needs to settle himself down a little bit. Just a couple of long-range efforts so far from Aaron Hickey, both going close, but at the moment it's United who do look the better side. I just want to go back to something that Ayo said before the game. Amrabat has brought some quality on the ball to the United midfield, but I think he might struggle today to have time on the ball because Brentford are really pressing hard. But equally, I have to say as well, United are pushing as soon as the ball retreats towards the Brentford goalkeeper Strakosha. So certainly an interesting game, but so far honours even. It's still Manchester United 0, Brentford 0.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Updates coming from Old Trafford, courtesy of Andrew Buonocore, as and when they happen. It's been a rocky old time for Manchester United recently, hasn't it? You think of all the investment in the squad and over the summer. And the frustration for fans this season, of course, as they started really well at the last season they played so well, particularly in periods towards the end of it, but haven't been able to kick on from all that positivity towards the end of last season. So frustration a little bit for Erik ten Hag's men, but they might be able to get a bit of a foothold in that game between themselves and Brentford. So we're just going to have a quick chat with John Kane, just get a quick update on the in-play odds in our Premier League fixtures.
The latest in-play betting odds from NairaBet.
Yes, the latest best from Nibet website. Of course, all these prices are subject to change, as you've heard in the Premier League. Chelsea are losing away to Burnley by a goal to nil. Burnley are now 2.40 for the win. The draw is 3.50, and Chelsea's away. If you think Chelsea will win the game, they are just gone up to 2.88. The other big game, of course, Manchester United against Brentford. 20 minutes gone, still 0-0. Manchester United are 1.73 for the win, 3.80 for the draw, and Brentford are only 5.0 to win at Old Trafford. Fulham Sheffield United still 0-0 after 21 minutes. Fulham are 1.53 for the win. The draw are 4.20, and Sheffield United away win is 6.50. Everton, 22 minutes gone. They're still leading Bournemouth by a goal to nil. Everton are 1.33 for the win, 5.25 for the draw, and just gone up to 11.0 for a Bournemouth away win. Of course, if you want both teams to score, I can give you odds on that in, let's say, now. So if you think Everton Bournemouth, it's actually just been suspended, so we'll come back to that very, very shortly. However, Burnley Chelsea, if you think both teams will score, it's 1.25. Fulham Sheffield United, both teams to score in this match, they're 2.40. Manchester United Brentford, both teams to score is 2.0. Now, if you just go back quickly on some of the other games so far, well, 65 minutes gone in Serie A. Inter Milan 2, Bologna 2. Like Alex Guilford just mentioned, Inter Milan were leading by 2-0, and it's 2-2 now. Inter Milan are 1.91 for the win. The draw is 2.40. Away win for Bologna is just gone down to 10.0. Quickly, in the Bundesliga, it's half-time nearly everywhere there. Leipzig and Bochum. Leipzig is still 0-0 at half-time. Leipzig are 1.50 for the win. The draw is 3.75. A Bochum away win is 9.0. The game that we're concentrating on in the Bundesliga, which is Dortmund Berlin, is half-time. Dortmund 1, Berlin 0. Dortmund are 3.80 to win at home. Not a bad price. The draw is 3.30, and Union to maintain that winning streak to 2.10. As finally for the Real Madrid fans everywhere, 8 minutes gone, still 0-0 between Real Madrid and Osasuna. In fact, I can tell you, Real Madrid have just taken the lead after 8 minutes. So betting is suspended as we speak. Of course, all these prices from Nairabet, and all prices are subject to change.
Thank you very much, John. Don't forget you can go to Nairabet's website for all the up-to-date odds on all of our games this afternoon and indeed beyond. We're going to go to Jackson Cole, who's at Turf Moor at the moment. There's been a chance for the home side, Jackson.
Yeah, Burnley 1, Chelsea 0, but it really should have been 2-0 to Burnley. A glorious chance for Mike Trezor, one of the other changes Vincent Kompany made to his starting 11. The goal scorer, Odeberg, did brilliantly on the left-hand side, just dinked across and teased it towards Trezor, who got the run on Chelsea left-back Levi Colwill, but then he just miscued his volley. If he had got any decent contact, he was only 6 yards out, it would have been surely 2-0 to Burnley. But Chelsea have got a reprieve. It's still Burnley 1, Chelsea 0.
Thank you very much, Jackson. And we're going to head straight to Germany to talk to Matthew Key. It's half-time in the game there between Borussia Dortmund and Union Berlin. Matthew, it's been a lively one there. Goodness me.
Yeah, really lively opening half an hour here in Germany, and at half-time it's Union Berlin, perhaps, I suppose you'd say, with a shock lead at the break. 2-1 up, they went 1-0 down. Nico Füllkrug with the opening goal. First time, didn't quite go in for him, but he reacted quickly to tap home for the at the second attempt. He was then from hero to zero when he headed into his own net from an Union Berlin corner. He then thought they'd taken the lead with a free kick which was headed in by Krul, but that was given offside. The we've seen the replay now and can confirm that was the right decision. And then Dortmund thought they'd got the lead, and again it was Fulkrug having all the action in the early stages, who headed in and Marco Reus brilliantly flighted in free kick, but again went to VAR. Again, it was offside, and again we can see it was the right decision. And then there was a goal at the end for Union Berlin. Bonucci with a penalty, so they lead at half time by 2-1.
Thank you very much indeed, Jackson. We've got another goal to bring you here on Football Live.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Goodness me, there's been a goal at Old Trafford, and it's not good news for Manchester United fans. Brentford have stolen a lead inside half an hour there through Matthias Jensen. He has scored, and I believe we can go straight to Andrew Buonocore, who is at Old Trafford this afternoon. Andrew, tell us how it happened.
Yes, it's 1-0 to Brentford, and you've got to lay responsibility for this one squarely on the shoulders of Casemiro. He lost possession in around the centre spot. Brentford broke fairly quickly, and a couple of desperate lunges. The most desperate of all of them, to be fair, not from Harry Maguire, but Diego Dalot. He missed his tackle and allowed Jensen at the far post to just squeeze his shot in between a morass of players. And you have to say, well, I gave responsibility to Casemiro, but it's a howler, massive howler from Andre Onana. I don't know if he was unsighted with the sun in his eyes, but no deflection on it at all. He allowed the ball, would you believe, to go under his elbow. So he stretched out probably too much, didn't get his right arm down on the deck. And, well, he's now shouting at himself and looking for help from the heavens above. Horrible blunder. Casemiro giving the ball away in midfield, and Andre Onana allowing that ball to go under his body for another tremendous blunder from the new United keeper. His blunder makes it Manchester United 0, Brentford 1.
Goodness me, what a couple of days it has been for Casemiro and Andre Onana. Andre Onana responsible, more or less, certainly with blood on his hands, you could say, in the wake of Casemiro's red card in midweek against Galatasaray. And then he had a bit of a howler later on when he just ended up being sat down by Mauro Icardi, and then he sounds like he's had a pretty awful he's produced some pretty awful goalkeeping this afternoon once more. Just to update you on the goal for Real Madrid, you can probably guess by now who it was, can't you? It was, of course, Jude Bellingham. He's put Real Madrid 1-0 up against Osasuna. We will go to Jackson Cole in a few moments' time for an update on Chelsea. But before we do that, we're going to talk to Kane Weers, who is Kane. He's at Fulham against Sheffield United at Craven Cottage. Kane, slightly troubling looking injury here. What can you tell us?
Yeah. The game's been stopped for a number of minutes now, and it all came from Fulham just clipping a ball over the back line of Sheffield United, and the captain Chris Basham, who's played every game this season for them, has just went to volley the ball away, and when he's done it, he's landed and planted his foot, and unfortunately it looks like his ankle may have broken that process, and you can see real pain from both in terms of the player getting gas and air. Unfortunately, the Sheffield United and the Fulham medical staff are on the pitch treating him at the minute, as well as Paul Heckingbottom, who's consoling a very upset captain. There'll be a lengthy stoppage in this game, and we can only hope that someone in terms of experienced and been around the game as much as Chris Basham is all right and hopefully back on the pitch playing soon. So a lengthy spell in this game, currently at the minute stopped, and it's still Fulham 0, Sheffield United 0.
Thank you very much, Kane. Yeah, we wish Chris Basham all the best. I have actually broken my ankle myself, and I can tell you it is so painful. And it's not necessarily when the bone breaks; it's the ligaments and that kind of thing in your ankle as well they're all very delicate. So it can be a slow road to recovery. We of course saw a similar event a couple of years ago involving Andre Gomez, didn't we? And there was a very lengthy pause to the game then, and they actually sped up his recovery by taking careful precautions at the time there. So we expect a lengthy delay. It's already been a couple of minutes at Craven Cottage, but it'll be a couple more minutes delay there. We're going to go to Turf Moor to talk to Jackson Cole about the game between Burnley and Chelsea. Jackson, the away side displaying a slight lack of discipline at the moment.
Yeah, they certainly are. 2 bookings for Chelsea in the matter of seconds. It was Mark Cucurella who first got booked. He's playing in that makeshift right-back role, and I tell you what, he is really struggling against the goal scorer Wilson Odeberg. He's had Cucurella on toast so far, and a bit of frustration crept in. A very robust challenge on him, and the referee did the right thing to give him a yellow card. Enzo Fernandez didn't see it that way, and he had a few too many things to say to the referee, so Enzo Fernandez then got himself in the referee's book as well. Yeah, so Chelsea, they're looking a bit frustrated. I've been looking at their record at Turf Moor. They've won 7 of their 8 visits to Turf Moor in the Premier League era. The last one was in March 2022. They won 4-0, but as we know, there's been a lot of change at Chelsea in that time, and there are, of that starting 11, only 3 of them are still representing Chelsea. That's Reece James, Thiago Silva and Trevoh Chalobah. And well, Reece James, he's injured. Chalobah has basically been frozen out by Mauricio Pochettino. So Thiago Silva is the only survivor today from that last visit to Turf Moor. So I think we're seeing the symptoms of a very unsettled squad in the Chelsea camp. It's still Burnley 1, Chelsea 0.
Thank you very much, Jackson. If Chelsea are going to get a goal this afternoon, where does it look like it might be coming from at this stage?
Well, I'd say at this stage it's Raheem Sterling. He's been their best player so far. Cole Palmer has had a few good moments when it was 0-0. He managed to break away from his marker, Charlie Taylor, but his shot was a bit wayward. So I'd say through those forwards on the wings, Sterling and Palmer, they are the most likely sources. Amanda Broja, he had a very good game against Fulham. He's just been absolutely nowhere so far. I've barely seen him touch the ball. So, yeah, that's plenty to ponder for Mauricio Pochettino.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, Jackson. I'm sure we'll be back with you before too long. We're going to go to Andrew Buonocore at Old Trafford, where Manchester United find themselves a goal down to Brentford after Jensen put the away side ahead. How have Manchester United looked since then, Andrew?
To be honest, the Brentford goal aside, United they're approaching the game in exactly the same way. The ball has spent a long time, or a lot of time, within about 20 yards of the Brentford goal. United are swinging a lot of crosses in, but it's extremely congested in that Brentford penalty area. Brentford are defending in numbers, and there is just absolutely no space for, especially for Højlund. You've got the likes of Amrabat and Bruno Fernandes, who are very capable and intelligent passers of the ball, but there's just no space for the likes of Rashford and Højlund in and around that penalty box. But still, you just sense that the crowd is reeling from that Andre Onana mistake. United have done a decent job of kind of keeping their heads up and maintaining their approach to the game. They're still very much on the front foot, but there's just let's just say there's a lack of quality to that Manchester United play going forward, and maybe it could be worth one of their forward players just dropping back a little bit to try and leave a little bit more space for the likes of Højlund up front. He's working hard, and he does look like once he's maybe a couple of months into the Premier League, he could be a real asset to Manchester United. But at the moment, I'd say he looks perhaps a little bit lost and someone who's kind of looking for a role in this team. But it does feel like it's going to click. It's just a question of when. But at the moment, with 10 minutes or so to go until half-time, it's still Manchester United 0, Brentford 1.
Superb stuff. Thank you very much, Andrew. Rasmus Højlund then cutting a slightly isolated figure at Old Trafford this afternoon as Manchester United's toils continue. Meanwhile, we're going to go to Goodison Park and talk to Ash Sanderford because there's been a booking for the home side Everton in their game against Bournemouth.
Yeah, another booking for Everton, unfortunately. Still Everton 1, Bournemouth 0, 34 minutes in. And to be honest with you, Bournemouth have done really well. They've really pressed Everton really high and put them back on the back foot, but there's still been no real clear-cut chances for Bournemouth. Everton's got themselves another booking, so literally now 2 of their back 4 have now got bookings. Jared Branthwaite has got himself a booking with, to be honest with you, this was a stone wall booking. He originally tried to literally wrestle Dominic Solanke to the ground, and he didn't manage to do that unsuccessfully, and then he kind of chopped Ryan Christie as well. So he could have got 2 bookings, that famous 2 bookings that Martinelli got back last season. So he could probably got booked twice, to be honest with you. But to be honest, he has it's been a pretty poor start from Everton after their goal, and they could have really, to be honest with you, need to get the home fans going and hopefully get themselves another goal to get their first 3 points of the season at Goodison Park. But as it stands, about 37 minutes in, it's Everton 1, Bournemouth 0.
Thank you very much, Ash. And I can, in fact, announce there's been another goal here on Football Live.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Goodness me, no sooner had Ash handed back over to me there. I've got a little update on my screen here in the studio to say that Everton have got a second goal. It's now Everton 2, Bournemouth 0. So we'll be handing back to Ash in just a second. The goal is, of course, being checked by VAR, but it looks like Jack Harrison has put the home side 2 goals up at Goodison Park. Good news for Everton fans after a pretty disappointing result at home to Luton last weekend. Boos ringing round in front of Sean Dyche's men as they traipsed off on a slightly wet and miserable afternoon for the home sides there. Carlton Morris got the winner there for the away side for Luton, as after Thomas Lockyer had opened the scoring. It was then, of course, Dominic Calvert-Lewin who put the home side up. But the goal at Goodison Park has, in fact, been given, which means we can get an update from Ash Sanderford. Ash, tell us how it happened.
Yes, Everton 2, Bournemouth 0, and Everton, against the run of play, to be honest with you, has got themselves a second goal, and the home fans are going absolute bananas in the stands. It's come from a breakdown from a corner, to be honest with you. The corner's been whipped in, and the goalkeeper's tried to parry the ball out, and it's come out and it's kind of ricocheted in and around the box, and it's gone out again one more time to the left-hand side again from Onana. Onana's kind of crossed it in again, and the goalkeeper for Bournemouth, I think it's Neto, who's parried it out as far as he could. It's actually a fantastic punch, to be honest with you. He's really punched the ball, I would say about 26, 27 yards out of the 18-yard box. And Jack Harrison has decided to kind of clip it first time, as the goalkeeper wasn't actually genuinely on his line, gone straight over everyone's head, over the Neto's head, straight into the goal. It's a fantastic first-time finish for Jack Harrison's first Premier League start for Everton. Absolutely delighted with that. Sean Dyche is really happy with his team so far. It's Everton 2, Bournemouth 0, and about 38 minutes gone.
Lovely stuff. Thank you very much indeed, Ash. We are going to go to Jackson Cole, who's at Turf Moor, because a few moments ago there was a chance for Chelsea, but not a goal, unfortunately, Jackson.
Yeah, there've actually been 2 since he last came to me. It's been a pretty limp display from Chelsea so far, but not from Raheem Sterling. He is really in the mood today. Both of those chances fell to him. The most recent one was the best one. He worked just half a yard for himself on the left-hand side in the box, and his shot almost nutmegged Burnley goalkeeper James Trafford, but the keeper was equal to as ever. And just before that, there was a sort of looping cross in by Mark Cucurella on the right-hand side, which found Sterling, but the Burnley right-back Coutinho did just about enough to put him off, and then Trafford was there to collect the ball. So Chelsea are knocking on the door in the final few minutes of this first half, but right now it's Burnley 1, Chelsea 0.
Lovely stuff. Thank you very much, Jackson. We're going to go to Old Trafford next, talk to Andrew Buonaccore. It's been a chance for Manchester United.
Chances actually for both sides now, Alex. First of all, for United, Rashford did this one all on his own. He was jiggling in from the left, made it to about 15 yards out, but his shot was too close to Strakosha. Then the Bees went straight up the other end, and Mbeumo's shot from 20 yards didn't have enough curl on it and just drifted wide. We're approaching 5 minutes before injury time. It's still Man United 0, Brentford 1.
Thank you very much indeed. There's been another goal here on Football Live.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Yes, that's right. And things are looking up a little bit for Mauricio Pochettino and Chelsea. They've played 42 minutes in their game at Turf Moor against Burnley, and it is 1-1. Chelsea have levelled. It's an Al Dakhil own goal that's gone in for the away side. Slightly bad news for Burnley fans. We're looking like a really good result was on the card. Certainly a really solid first half display, and they've stuck it in their own net, unfortunately, for Burnley. So it looks like as we approach half-time, they'll be going in honours even. And I'm pleased to announce there's been another goal here on Football Live.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Well, it's been topsy-turvy stuff over in Germany. Borussia Dortmund went a goal up. Union Berlin equalised. Both sides had goals disallowed for VAR. Union Berlin got a penalty, and now Borussia Dortmund have made it 2-2 in the game at the Signal Iduna Park this afternoon. I think we're going to go straight over to Germany and have a chat with Matthew Key. Matthew, what can you tell us in this insane game?
Well, I can tell you that we've had a brilliant goal to match the quality of play that we've seen so far. From an unlikely source as well, it's Nico Schlotterbeck, the Borussia Dortmund centre-back. And what a goal it is as well. I mean, Union Berlin, since they've gone ahead, they've sat back, they've played deep, they've looked to play on the counter-attack. Dortmund just haven't been able to break them down, to be honest. And the fans a couple of times have been crying out for someone to have a go. And that's exactly what Schlotterbeck does. He gets the ball about 30 yards out of goal, away from goal, takes a touch. The Union Berlin players stand off him a bit, and he just decides he's going to have a shot. And what a shot it is! It is left-footed, and it's like an arrow in the top corner. Goalkeeper, absolutely no chance. What a goal that was, and the game swings again. 51 minutes gone, and it's Borussia Dortmund 2, Union Berlin 2.
Thank you very much, Matthew Key. We are going to go to Jackson Cole up at Turf Moor for an update on what happened for Chelsea's goal. Chelsea are slightly unfortunate, perhaps, Jackson.
Yeah, Burnley won, Chelsea are level, and it is quite a fortuitous goal. I feel so sorry for the Burnley defender, Amin Al Dakhil. He couldn't really do much about it, but again, it's all about Raheem Sterling. He's really been probing this Burnley defence. He beat his man on the left-hand side and looked to get across into the middle. And then Al Dakhil, he was just trying to intercept it, clear away, but it just hit his midriff and then looped over James Trafford, the Burnley goalkeeper, and into the net. So a bit of respite for the under pressure Mauricio Pochettino, as it looks like he's going to get in level at half-time at Turf Moor. It's Burnley 1, Chelsea 1.
Thank you very much, Jackson. Half-time approaching in all of our Premier League games, although there will be considerable added time at Craven Cottage, where we are going to join Kane Weers, because Kane is there watching Fulham play Sheffield United. Kane, there was about 12 minutes of stoppage earlier for that injury to Chris Basham that we talked about.
Yeah, the whole of Craven Cottage rose to their feet to applaud as Basham was carried off the pitch and onto a stretcher, and unfortunately into an ambulance which was just on the side of the pitch. Basham raised his thumb as well, just to the crowd as he'd exited the pitch, and Robinson came on to replace him. And then after, as you say, 12 minutes or so, Fulham got going again and put a great move together with Pereira getting down the left. The ball's worked inside the middle where Willian tees up Paulinho to the edge of the box, and his shots just skied over. And Sheffield United's right-hand side have been exposed all day by Fulham, with the likes of Willian and Vinicius creating a number of chances, and hopefully that's something that Paul Heckingbottom will maybe look at going into the second half. But at Craven Cottage, it's Fulham 0, Sheffield United 0.
Thank you very much, Matthew. And I can announce that there's been yet another goal here on Football Live.
the goals, powered by NairaBet.
That's right. The topsy-turvy nature of the game at the Signal Iduna Park continues. It's currently Borussia Dortmund 3, Union Berlin 0. Joined by Matthew Key. Matthew, what can you tell us?
Well, I can tell you that Dortmund have completely turned the game around and they lead once more, and it's Julian Brandt that's got the goal. He's come off the bench and he's made an immediate impact, and less than 10 minutes into the second half, Dortmund have got 2 goals and have the lead again. It was a brilliant counter-attacking play. Union Berlin had a corner at one end, actually had a shot and decent chance from it, but Dortmund were able to scramble the ball clear, and Marco Reus found himself in acres of space. It was a 4-on-3, and he travelled with the ball, and there was a matter of could he pick out the right option. He could. A lovely little reverse ball to Brandt, found himself in on goal, took a touch and finished really, really calmly with his left foot past the goalkeeper, and Dortmund have turned this one round. Once again, we had a fast start in the first half. We've had a really fast start in the second half. What a game this is. It's Borussia Dortmund 3, Union Berlin 2.
Well, you can always rely on Borussia Dortmund to entertain their fans at the Signal Iduna Park, can't you? And they've certainly done that this afternoon, going a goal up, then 2-1 down, and now it's 3-2 to the home side. We are approaching half-time in our Premier League 3 o'clock kickoffs, 2 minutes of added time at Old Trafford. There's 14 added minutes at Craven Cottage, where Fulham host Sheffield United after a pretty nasty-looking injury to Fulham's captain to Sheffield United's captain Chris Basham, and there's 3 minutes of injury time at Burnley by the looks of things as well. So we'll be going to Jackson Cole for a half-time update before too long. In the game there, it's 1-1 at half time. Let's go to Andrew Buonocore at Old Trafford, where I think proceedings are just coming to an end here. Andrew, any sign of something to hold on to for the home fans?
Not a massive amount. It's really been much of a muchness, or should I say much of the same. Hoyland came fairly close, but he's got maybe 4 or 5 yards to work with from the Brentford goal. He's finding no space at all, as I mentioned earlier, but he was already adjudged to have been offside. So I wouldn't say it's been all Manchester United, but they've certainly had most of the possession, and most of the possession certainly in the Brentford defensive third of the half, but of the pitch. But there's not much going on for them. You can't say that they've had many clear-cut chances as the half-time whistle goes here. So Brentford a goal to the good, 1-0 up against Manchester United at half-time without really having to do too much for it. It's finished at half-time here. It's Manchester United 0, Brentford 1.
Lovely stuff. Thank you very much, Andrew. And we're going to go to Turf Moor. Jackson Cole is there for us, and it's half-time in the game between Burnley and Chelsea. Jackson, surmise the first half there for us.
Yeah, Burnley 1, Chelsea 1, a lively encounter at Turf Moor with plenty of talking points in this first half. The Clarets took a surprise lead on 15 minutes when Wilson Odeberg's assured left-footed strike nestled into the bottom corner of the net after good work by Lyle Foster. Chelsea haven't been great, but fortunately for them, Raheem Sterling has been in the mood. The 28-year-old has taken this match by the scruff of the neck, having gone close to scoring on 3 separate occasions in this first half. He couldn't find the net, but he played a big role in Chelsea's equaliser. His cross struck Amin Al-Dakhil, and the ball then looped over James Trafford and into the net. Should be a good second half. Burnley 1, Chelsea 1.
Thank you very much, Jackson. Be hearing back from you in about 15 minutes or so when the second half of that game between Burnley and Chelsea is underway. We're just going to go back to talk to Andrew Buonocore about Manchester United's frustrating first half against Brentford. Andrew, you mentioned that Brentford's goal came from a pretty dreadful piece of goalkeeping for Andre Onana. He can't seem to catch a break at the moment, can he?
No, he really can't. And you've seen it with players, especially goalkeepers in the past, where they make a couple of mistakes and they almost feel like they put themselves under pressure in subsequent matches, and you wonder whether maybe Onana has done that to himself. He's been very public and very open and honest about the fact that he was responsible for for the goals that he's let in. But it was such an awful mistake, and you just wonder. The sun looked like it was in his eyes. Maybe something as simple as a Manchester United cap could have spared his blushes, but it all came really from Casemiro giving the ball away on 26 minutes, and Brentford broke quickly. But that shot from Jensen, it seemed fairly tame, and Onana just didn't get his arm down close enough to the ground and allowed it to go under his elbow and into the net. It was another blunder to add to a fairly lengthy catalogue of mistakes. But it put Brentford a goal up, and you'd have to say at the time it was against the run of play. After the goal, United continued to huff and puff, but there's just no space in and around that Brentford penalty box, and Højlund in particular is having a decent but definitely a very frustrating afternoon. So without really having to do very much, Brentford are a goal up, but I feel like there could be something in this game for United. They're not playing badly, they just need to make a couple of changes to perhaps get something from this game. But Brentford, I have to say, are really sticking to the plan, and it's a plan that's working very, very well for them so far, because at half-time, it's Manchester United 0, Brentford 1.
Thank you very much, Andrew. We'll be speaking to you again about 15 minutes or so when the second half to that game between Manchester United and Brentford kicks off. I can tell you in that game, 60% possession for the home side, 7 shots but only 1 on target. Tells its own story, doesn't it, really? We're going to go to Goodison Park for a halftime report from our reporter there, Ash Sanderford. Little quick report on the first half for you, if you don't mind, please, Ash. It's been a good half for the home side.
Yeah, great half for the home side. It's Everton 2, Bournemouth 0. Kind of quick-fire goal in the first 8 minutes from James Garner, wrapping it up. It was a simple finish in the bottom right-hand corner. A couple of bookings in between that, but towards the end of that half, Jack Harrison scored a fantastic goal for his first Premier League start for Everton on loan from Leeds, with a kind of first-time volley looping over Neto and into the back of the net. So comfortable performance so far for Everton. It's Everton 2, Bournemouth 0, half-time here at Goodison.
Thank you very much, Ash, and thank you for your fine work this afternoon, keeping us up to date with proceedings at Goodison Park. Just to remind you that at half-time it is Burnley 1, Chelsea 1, Everton 2, Bournemouth 0, Manchester United 0, Brentford 1. And the game between Fulham and Sheffield United is they're still playing. They've got 14 minutes of added time there, and they've played about 9.5 minutes of it. So we'll bring you an update from that when we've had a little chat, when you listeners have had a little chat with FJ. Manchester United fans, we want to hear from you. How do you feel about your side's performance in that first half? Is it good enough? Is there enough desire from the team? Chelsea fans, we want to hear from you as well. Although you've been a little bit lucky, is that a little bit better? Well, we'll be back with you in a few moments' time once you've had a little chat with AJ. This is Football Live.
Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Alex Guilford.
Hello and welcome back to Football Live and exclusive on Brilla FM. That's 88.9 FM in Nigeria. That's Brilla.net and on the Brilla app, of course. Thanks for joining us. We've got updates from all over the Premier League to bring you for the rest of the afternoon. But before we do that, as we love to do, there's another goal here to bring you on Football Live.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Yes, there's been yet another goal in the game between Borussia Dortmund and Union Berlin, and it's gone the way of the home side, Borussia Dortmund. They find themselves 4-2 up. I think we're going to quickly speak to Matthew Key about the goal. What happened, Matthew?
Well, it might just be game over now. It's been a crazy game, but finally some teams got themselves firmly in control. Borussia Dortmund are 4-2 up, and it's Ryerson, the fullback, that's got the latest goal. It was a bit fortunate from Borussia Dortmund point of view. Lovely play once again down the right-hand side. They've been really good in this second half, really sharp, and the ball is switched across to the left. Ryerson Again, Union stand off him just a bit, so he has a shot. Not quite as clean as Slotterbeck. Takes a little deflection, completely does the keeper, and that could be game over. Borussia Dortmund 4, Union Berlin 2.
Thank you very much, Matthew. There has been a penalty at Turf Moor. It's been given to Chelsea. So we'll keep you up to date with what happens there. And in fact, I can tell you now, there has been a goal.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
There has been a goal in the game between at Turf Moor between Burnley and Chelsea, and you can guess by what I just said, it has gone the way of the away side. Chelsea went a goal down early in the first half, and they were slightly lucky to get a goal before half-time. An own goal was scored by Burnley defender Al Dakil, but Chelsea now find themselves 2 goals to the good. They'll find themselves 2 goals to 1 up, I should say, away at Burnley. Possibly an excellent result to Mauricio Pochettino and his men if the game stays like this. One that they can really point to the spirit of the side, having gone down early in the first half to a goal, as I mentioned. It'll be a fantastic result if they can turn this one around. Just to remind you what else is going on, it's 2-0 in the game between Everton and Bournemouth. That's 2-0 to Everton. It's 0-0 in the game between Fulham and Sheffield United. It's still half-time there. There were 14 minutes added on towards at the end of the first half due to an injury to Chris Basham. And it's still 1-0 to Brentford at Old Trafford against Manchester United. And we're gonna go to Jackson Cole now, who's at Turf Moor for us. Tell us about the penalty, Jackson.
Yeah, it's Burnley 1, Chelsea 2, and again, more outstanding work by Raheem Sterling. He was the one who won the penalty. He just darted inside the box. Burnley right back Coutinho lost his man, tried to make that recovery challenge, but tripped Sterling up in the process. Clear penalty, and stepping up was Cole Palmer to get his first goal for Chelsea since completing his move from Manchester City. He slotted it past his England under-21 teammate James Trafford in the Burnley goal. And well, it was looking pretty dismal early in the first half for Chelsea, but now it's looking pretty good. It's Burnley 1, Chelsea 2.
Thank you very much, Jackson. Potentially exciting times then for Chelsea. Back-to-back Premier League victories for them on the cards here. Of course, the game isn't over yet. They've got about 40 minutes plus any injury time left to play. Just to remind you of the game in La Liga between Real Madrid and Osasuna. They're at half-time now. Real Madrid are a goal to the good thanks to that man Jude Bellingham's strike earlier in the first half. Elsewhere in the Bundesliga, apart from our game between Dortmund and Berlin, which is 4-2 to Dortmund, it's Augsburg 0, Darmstadt 2, RB Leipzig 0, Bochum 0, and Stuttgart 2, Wolfsburg 1. Before we go anywhere else, I think we're going to talk to our Saudi League expert, John Kane, about what's going on in Saudi Arabia at the moment. John, over to you.
The Saudi Pro League on Football Live.
Yes, thank you very much, Alex. It's been a few good games in round 9 of the Saudi Pro League. The most notable one was probably the biggest game was Al Ittihad against Al Ahli. And the game that yesterday, and Frank Cassie scored the only goal for Al Ahli to beat Al Ittihad. Of course, Al Ittihad had Karim Benzema back in the squad, but it finished Al Ittihad 0, Al Ahli 1. Of course, just a reminder, Al Ahli one of the top 5 teams in Saudi Arabia. However, they did get relegated 2 years ago, but they came back last season, and they're coming up very strong indeed. And of course, signing players like Riyad Mahrez and Frank Cassie and few others. The other game, which of course everyone was probably looking forward to, was Al Nassr, where Cristiano Ronaldo plays his football nowadays. They drew 2-2 with Abha just above the relegation zone by literally on goal difference. They started the scoring on Nasser. They scored 2 goals in the first half through Otavi in the 3rd minute and Talisca in the 28th minute. Then Bigour scored the first goal for Abha from the penalty spot just before half time, and then 93rd minute for Abha, Toko Ikambi scored the equaliser for Abha. It was a big result for Abha, but it's definitely not the results that Al Nassr wanted it. So it finished Al Nassr 2, Abha 2. The other scores in the round as well, which is one of the big ones, Al Ittifaq, which is of course managed by Steven Gerrard and Jordan Henderson, were places for them now. They lost at home to Al Fateh by 1-2. Al Ittifaq were doing very well in the Saudi Pro League, and I can tell you who the leading team is Al Ta'awan. They are leading by 3 goals. They've won by 3 goals to nil, and that puts them top of the league. However, Al Hilal are playing as we speak as well, and they're actually leading by 1-0. The game just kicked off about 15 minutes or so ago. So with that win, if Al Hilal wins, they're leading by the chart or the table by 23 points. Al Ta'awan, the surprise package of 22 points. Al Nassr with Cristiano Ronaldo, and Al Ittihad with Karim Benzema, and Al Ahly with Riyad Mahrez. They're all on 19 points.
Thank you very much, John. I just wanted to ask you, there's obviously been a huge amount of investment in the Saudi Pro League by the government there. Would they consider it to have been a success so far, do you think, that investment?
I think it has been so far, isn't it? I mean, not only that, just the attracting the players, but they're actually attracting so many broadcasters to show the games live all over the world. And of course, we know that Saudi Arabia is the main contender for the to host the World Cup in 7 or 8 years' time. Yeah, so
4, I think.
That's right. So they're big contenders to host it, and they seem to prefer the same favourites as well to do so. And the players that they brought in, they spent a hell of a lot of players, haven't they? I mean, when you look at players like not just Riyad Mahrez, but Neymar, Mane, Mendy, this is Jordan Henderson. This is just a few players I'm mentioning here, but I can go through the list, but it's a very long list at the moment.
Too long, yeah.
Exactly, and of course they tried to get Mo Salah with any money. Of course, Mo Salah decided to stay at Liverpool, but you just don't know what's going to happen in the winter signing as well. But the Saudi Arabia is definitely going up, and it's definitely getting the fans from all over the world. I mean, I think basically probably many people who coming into the Saudi League, they're probably thinking, maybe I should pick a team for myself, and shall I support Al Nassr because of Ronaldo, or Al Hilal because of Neymar, and watch it. And it'd be interesting to hear as well from Nigerian fans here who listen to Football Live if they actually been are they taking interest in it, and have they got a team to support? And if you do, just tag us on hashtag on Football Live NG. It'd be very interesting to see if you're supporting a team in Saudi Arabia, and I'm sure many will be. I mean, Cristiano Ronaldo might be 38, but he still attracts the headlines, doesn't he?
Absolutely, yeah. The really interesting thing about it at the moment is, well, for me, is that you see so many players who are sort of in their peak years moving there. We're very used to seeing players move to MLS towards the twilight years for a bit of a paycheck. Robbie Fowler went to, and Emil Heskey, you think of them going to Australia for, sort of their twilight years. But the Saudi Arabia is really attracting players at the peak of their game, which that is the most interesting aspect of it for me.
No, absolutely. I mean, you look at, we said Riyad Mahrez. Riyad Mahrez is the peak of his football, isn't he? He was playing in the top football league in the world with Manchester City, and all of a sudden he's gone, and he's still at the peak and still got so much to give. And to be honest with you, for me, the big surprise, and I said it before, is Brozovic. Brozovic for me is one of the best midfielders in Europe or in the world, and I don't think he's even 30 yet. I need to check on his age. And he's gone to play for Al Ahly, and I appreciate playing in Al Ahly. He's actually a very good thing. But it's just remarkable that some of these players are going there. And Carrasco from Atletico Madrid, he's gone to Al Shabab. So they are attracting I don't think it's just the money. You look at some of the games and you watch it. So many people on the grounds filling up their grounds, and so many people actually turning their TV on the Saudi Arabian Pro League because these players are big players and they've got massive followers. And you can't get bigger than Cristiano Ronaldo, like I said. Of course, with all respect to Lionel Messi, they both will have the attraction in different ways with Inter Miami and Nasser. But Nasser with Saudi Arabia, they're not doing that great as everyone expected. But especially with that 2-2 draw yesterday, it was a fascinating game to watch. To be fair, because I did watch that game, and to lose that 2 points just literally 2 minutes into injury time is just a catastrophe for a team like Al-Nassr with the players they had, like Ronaldo and Manning.
Yes, I'm sure Cristiano Ronaldo wasn't a particularly happy chicken after that. John, thanks ever so much for that update on the Saudi Pro League. And I'm pleased to announce that here on Football Live we have, in fact, no sooner had John finished talking, we've got another goal.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Well, we talked about Everton wanting to give their home fans something to cheer about at Goodison Park after their disappointing result at home to Luton last weekend. They found themselves 2 goals up, and we've just gone past the hour mark, and it's now 3-0 to Everton. Everton 3 goals to the good at home to Bournemouth. Abdoulaye Doucouré has scored their 3rd goal of the afternoon, and Bournemouth's poor form continues, really. Everyone thought that Gary O'Neill, it was perhaps a bit harsh giving him the sack after he'd kept them up towards the end of last season. Had a couple of games in hand, actually, when they actually secured safety. He's now at Wolverhampton Wanderers, of course, after Yudin Lopetegui resigned, but that goal at Goodison Park means that we're going to cross over to Ash Sanderford. Ash, it's turning into a great afternoon for Sean Dyche's team.
It's an excellent afternoon for Sean Dyche's team. It's Everton 3, Bournemouth 0, and some would say now game, set and match for Everton and Sean Dyche and his men. It's a poor defending from Bournemouth once again at the back. They've tried to clear it, and to be honest with you, they just keep miss-kicking the ball, and it's kind of fell in the hands of Jack Harrison. Jack Harrison's had his shot blocked, but right in the middle of the box is Abdoulaye Doucouré, just slots the rebound into the centre of a goal, near enough into an empty net, and it's 3-0 Everton, and they're absolutely cruising now. Sean Dyche will be absolutely delighted with this performance, and surely now Everton will be getting their first 3 points of the Premier League season. It's Everton 3, Bournemouth 0.
Yeah, it certainly looks like the home side have a victory in the offing this afternoon. We're going to go to Old Trafford and catch up with Andrew Bonacore. Brentford are a goal up there, Andrew, but it hasn't all been plain sailing for them.
No, we've had quite a lot going on since half-time. We had Christian Eriksen coming on for Casemiro. Eriksen coming on against his old team, of course. That might leave United a bit short of cover across the central defence, but of course it was Casemiro's inability to keep hold of the ball on the halfway line that led to the Brentford goal. So Ten Hag is willing to sacrifice some solidity for hopefully a bit of craft and goal going forward. I said he needed to make a change, and that's the one that he's gone for. But I don't think the issue really was one of personnel. It was more to do with Brentford's excellent defensive discipline. Meanwhile, Norgard has been booked for the Bees, went in a bit late on Eriksen. Anthony has just come on for Manchester United, replacing fairly ineffective Marcus Rashford. And Eriksen himself had a decent attempt on goal. He reduced to shooting from 20 yards out, beautifully struck, got it to just dip and bounce just in front of the keeper, but Strakosha not as bothered by the sunshine as Onana was. And then Dalot cleared off the line for United from an Mbeumo header. So it's all happening here, but it's still Man United 0, Brentford 1.
Thank you very much indeed, Andrew. No sign of the home side breaking the deadlock just yet. Brentford's resolve being tested, and indeed Manchester United's as well. Their ageing centre-back pairing of Harry Maguire and Johnny Evans being tested resolutely by Brentford. We're going to go We're going to go to Jackson Cole up at Turf Moor for an update on the game there between Burnley and Chelsea. Jackson.
Yeah, Burnley 1, Chelsea 2, and Chelsea came very close to making it 3-1. It fell to Enzo Fernandez. I know I've been going on about Raheem Sterling, but again, it was more great play. He played it through to Nicholas Jackson, the substitute, and then he flicked it back to Fernandez, who could only fire it straight at James Trafford. Also, for Burnley, Luka Koleosho, who's eligible for Nigeria, he's just come on as they try and find an equaliser. It's Burnley 1, Chelsea 2.
Thank you very much, Jackson. We'll be hearing from you in a second, but I'm delighted to announce there's another goal here for you on Football Live.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
And it has gone the way of Fulham at Craven Cottage. So 9 minutes or so into the second half there at Craven Cottage, it's Fulham 1, Sheffield United 0. Bobby Reid has put the home side ahead, but it is, of course, as is statutory these days, and I'm sure they'll be checking extra carefully this afternoon, given the events that we saw at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium last weekend. It has gone to VAR, so they're just poring over that one at the moment. In fact, I think the goal's been given. So it's currently 1-0 to Fulham, and we're going to go straight down to Kane Weers and get an update there. Kane, tell us what happened.
Yeah, great goal from Fulham, and it just comes again from Sheffield United causing their own problems. Sheffield United actually have the ball on the edge of Fulham's area, and they just lose the ball, just toothless again, and not being strong enough to retain possession, giving the ball away. And anyways, Willian picks up the ball and starts driving at the Sheffield United back line. He just slides in Bobby Decordova-Reid in behind that Sheffield United back three, who just gets 1v1 with Wes Foderingham and just places the ball around him. So thank God there's been a goal in the game, because I didn't think there would be after that first half. Sheffield United are still being toothless in terms of their approach and quite immature in their approach of retaining possession and not trying to. But Fulham have now got the breakthrough. So Fulham 1, Sheffield United 0.
Thank you very much indeed, Kane. I'm delighted to announce there's been yet another goal for us to bring you on Football Live.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Now, of course, this is the subject to a VAR inspection, but it looks like Chelsea have made it 3-1 at Turf Moor. It looks like it's Burnley 1, Chelsea 3, and Raheem Sterling, we believe, has got the third goal, but we're just waiting for VAR to confirm that, and we'll get an update on that goal from Jackson Cole in a few moments' time, after we've just heard that the team that Chelsea beat on Monday night, Fulham, have also gone a goal up. That's at home to Sheffield United. That game is about 12 minutes or so behind the others due to an injury sustained, a quite serious looking ankle injury sustained by Chris Basham, and therefore we're going to go to Jackson Cole at Turf Moor and get an update. Jackson, Raheem Sterling's off the mark this afternoon. Tell us about the goal.
Yeah, Burnley 1, Chelsea 3. If there's anyone who's deserved the goal this afternoon, it's this man, Raheem Sterling. He has spearheaded this comeback at Turf Moor for Chelsea, and he's finally got his goal. It was good play by Moises Caicedo, who won a 50-50 in the centre circle. The ball was then played to Conor Gallagher, who then slipped in Raheem Sterling on the left-hand side. And on his weaker left foot, he made absolutely no mistakes, slotting it beyond James Trafford. It looks like all 3 points are heading to Stamford Bridge. Burnley 1, Chelsea 3.
It certainly does. Thank you, Jackson. We'll keep you up to date with proceedings up at Turf Moor, but it's Burnley 1, Chelsea 3. Raheem Sterling with the third goal for the away side. The game between Borussia Dortmund and Union Berlin has just come to a close, as I can announce that Real Madrid have got a second goal against Osasuna. So I think we're going to get an update from Matthew Key at the Signal Iduna Park. It's full time there, and it's finished 4-2 to the home side, Matthew. A lively game this afternoon. Right, we seem to have lost touch with Matthew Key there, but we'll be back to him in just a second. Just to reiterate that the goal for Real Madrid, unbelievably, was Jude Bellingham's second goal of the afternoon to put his side 2-0 up. And to remind you that the game between Borussia Dortmund and Union Berlin has just finished 4-2. Hopefully getting an update from Matthew Key on that in just a second. Let's go to the Signal Iduna Park and see if Matthew's there. Matthew, you there?
Yep, here Alex. So it's finished in the Bundesliga and it's finished Borussia Dortmund for Union Berlin. So a very satisfying afternoon for Borussia Dortmund. In the end, they struggled in the first half, and despite going goal up, found themselves 2-1 down at half time. But a fantastic second half performance with a screamer from Schlotterbeck, and then the Julians, Brandt and Ryerson, turning the game completely on its head and making it 4-2 for Borussia Dortmund. They continue their unbeaten start to the Bundesliga season, having now played 7, won 5, drawn 2. And for Union Berlin, their problems slightly continue. That's now 5 defeats in 7 games for them in the Bundesliga. Struggling with that European rotation. You could tell that in the second half. As soon as Dortmund went 3-2 up, they didn't really look like getting back into the game, to be honest. Such a brilliant position for a club of their size, but they'll just have a slight couple of concerns juggling this midweek football. But sure they'll be fine when the schedule gets a bit easier around Christmas time. But a deserved win for Borussia Dortmund this afternoon, and they continue their good form in the Bundesliga. It is finished here at Signal Iduna Park. Borussia Dortmund 4, Union Berlin 2.
Thank you very much, Matthew. Yeah, great result for Borussia Dortmund off the back of their draw at the San Siro in midweek in the Champions League. That finished 0-0. We're going to go to Old Trafford, have a quick chat with Andrew Buonocore, because I think there's been an update of personnel, certainly for the away side, but maybe the home side as well. What can you tell us, Andrew?
Yeah, certainly for United, Anthony Martial is preparing to join the fray. United really throwing everything they can going forward to try and get something for the game. But a couple of substitutions for Brentford as well. Got to say, Brentford are not done here. It's certainly not a defensive move. And I'm pleased to say that Frank Onyeka, the Nigerian, has come on for Janelt. And Neil Mopé, on loan from Everton, has come on in place of Wissa. So a midfielder and another attacker coming on for Brentford. And they might believe that attack is possibly the best form of defence. They've been under a fair amount of pressure, but it's not been quality pressure. It's just been something that Brentford have been easily able to absorb. And as was the pattern, frankly, for almost the whole of the first half. So with 20 minutes to go, lots of changes made. Martial just about to come on, but it's still Manchester United 0, Brentford 1.
Thank you very much, Andrew. We're going to cut straight across to where we're going to go next. Let's have a look. We're going to go to Goodison Park and talk to Ash Sandiford, because there's also been a personnel change there for the away side. Ash.
Yeah, still as it stands, it's still Everton 3, Bournemouth 0. There's been a couple of changes since the third goal went in for Everton. Bournemouth decided to take off a couple of players. If Lewis Cook's come off and Kiefer Moore has come on, the big Welshman. And then David Brooks has also come on for Milos Kerkez. So they're really going to have to try and throw the kitchen sink at it now, Bournemouth. They're really struggling in the league so far this season. Haven't won at all. Only registered 3 draws, which looks like it's going to be their 5th defeat of the season. They've already conceded 18 Premier League goals. It's not looking good for Bournemouth as it stands. But Everton will be pretty happy so far. They're starting to manage the game really well and trying to see this one out, because it looks like it could be Sean Dyche natural clean sheet for Everton, hopefully for the first time in a few games. But as it stands, 74 minutes in, Everton 3, Bournemouth 0.
Thank you very much, Ash. You'll be a bit disappointed if, like me, at the start of the season, given that Sean Dyche was their manager, you put a few Everton defenders in your fantasy league team, if you do play fantasy league, of course. I think I had Jordan Pickford in at the beginning, and needless to say, it didn't go all that well. We're going to join Kane Weers down at Craven Cottage. Kane, can you give us an update on the game? Obviously a little bit behind all the others at the moment. Any developments 15 minutes or so into the second half?
Yeah, I think it's a real worry for Sheffield United because still they cannot get into the game. And the turnovers are getting too much in the game, and they're giving Fulham too many opportunities to win the ball and start driving at the United back line. But a couple of shots, one from Nigerian international Alex Guilford, where Willian leads another counter-attack, getting all the way to the edge of the box, and he just slots it into Guilford, whose shot's just deflected wide. And then another opportunity from that corner, where the Fulham corner's cleared into the edge of the box, where Bobby Decordova-Reid, who's just scored the first goal, takes it first time on the volley, just flies wide at the top left-hand corner. So Fulham are still looking for another goal in the game. It's played some good stuff. Sheffield United struggling to even get all the ball and get into the Fulham half. So it's 1-1 Sheffield United.
Right, thank you very much, Kane. Sorry about the audio issues we're having with Kane Weers up there. Before we go anywhere else, I can announce another goal for you here on Football Live.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Yeah, it's another goal from Turf Moor, and it's another goal for the away side, Chelsea, following up their performance away at Fulham on Monday, where they won 2-0 there. They've gone 4 goals to 1 up at Turf Moor, and it looks like Nicholas Jackson has got another goal for Chelsea. He's toiled a little bit in front of goal, hasn't he, this season? He's perhaps needed a bit of time out of the starting lineup, or maybe a bit more competition for his place, because he's sort of been Chelsea's only fit recognised centre forward for quite some time so far this season. But he looks to have got Chelsea's 4th goal of the afternoon, and just as we were saying, it looked like it might be a bit of a confidence booster for Chelsea this game. We're going to cut Nicholas Jackson, who needed a confidence boost. He's got a 4th, and we're going to hand over to Jackson Cole for an update. Jackson, tell us about the goal.
Yeah, Burnley 1, Chelsea 4. It's looking very, very comfortable for the Blues now. Once again, it's more brilliant work by Raheem Sterling. He just waltzed past Connor Roberts, who came on for Vitinho, the starting right back. Crossed it just a bit too much for Jackson, but Cole Palmer was there to retrieve it. Then he just passed it in the middle to Jackson, who got past the Burnley man and then slotted it home with his left foot. Jackson, he's been very, very effective in this second half. Armando Broja couldn't get into the game at all, and he's given Chelsea another dimension, and he's just put the icing on the cake to what is surely a 3 points for Mauricio Pochettino's men. Burnley 1, Chelsea 4.
Excellent stuff. Thank you very much, Jackson. Good to see your namesake getting on the score sheet on the game that you are reporting on for us this afternoon. Nicholas Jackson, nearly got that wrong then, as Jackson Cole just told us, has put Chelsea 4-1 up at Turf Moor. Apologies again if we were having a few audio issues just a second ago, but hopefully that's all been resolved now. Let's go back to Old Trafford, where Andrew Bonacore is watching Manchester United against Brentford. It's still 1-0 to the away side. Andrew, any sign of a Manchester United breakthrough yet?
Well, they're definitely going for it, Alex. Magnus Højlund going fairly close, but smashing the ball into the side netting. They brought on Martial and taken off Lindelof, so an attacking player on for a defender, and going quite close. Possibly their best chance of the game. It fell to Garnacho, and from maybe 15, 16 yards out to on the angle of the 6-yard box, he smashed the ball. It looked like it might just creep under the crossbar, but it just carried on rising, clipped the top of the bar and went over. And in fact, United go fairly close again. But I have to say, you could take a snapshot of any of the last, say, 20, 30 minutes of this game. It looks exactly the same as it was in the first half. It's a completely packed Brentford penalty area, with Manchester United trying their best to swing the ball in and just hope that they find a red-shirted player in the box, but so far they've not found anyone. The discipline from that Brentford team has been absolutely excellent so far, and so far they deserve to be 1-0 up as they are.
Excellent stuff. Thank you very much, Andrew. And once again, I feel like I've done this several times this afternoon. I think I've done it a lot. Anyway, there's another goal for us to bring you here on Football Live.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Yeah, that's right. We'll be heading back down to Kane Wears in a few seconds because it looks like there's been another goal at Craven Cottage where Fulham are hosting Sheffield United, and it looks like the away side, Sheffield United, have gone have equalised, I should say. I'm about to say they've gone a goal up, but Fulham scored earlier in the game, so it is Fulham 1, Sheffield United 1 at the moment, and we'll be cutting to Wayne in a few moments' time once I've given you a little update on the score in La Liga, where Real Madrid are at home to Osasuna. Real Madrid are 3 goals up now. Vinicius Jr. has scored a third for the home side there after Jude Bellingham got the opening 2 goals, continues his magnificent form. It looks like Anthony Robinson has scored an own goal for Sheffield United. The American left back looks to have put one in his own net against his own goalkeeper. He's, of course, the left back for Fulham, which appears to have drawn Sheffield United level at Craven Cottage. Just to remind you, that game is about 12 or 13 minutes behind the rest of the Premier League fixtures after they had 14 minutes of added time at the end of the first half due to a severe-looking ankle injury, possibly. I don't want to speculate too much, but potential to be a season ender for Chris Basham. So we're going to cut to Kane Wears now, who is at Craven Cottage, reporting on the game between Fulham and Sheffield United. It sounds like a bit of a disaster for the home side. Yes, that's right. Sorry, Kane, tell us about the goal.
Yeah, it's a nightmare for Robinson, and Fulham are furious because Diop, who's playing centre half for Fulham, actually pulls up with an injury inside of his own half and just falls to the floor. Sheffield United just nick the ball and play the ball out wide, and the ball's just then chipped into the box, and Robinson just kicks it into his own goal. The VAR went to check it for an offside, but the goal was given. It's a really weird goal, but Sheffield United will take it at this point, seeing as they're the 2 lowest scorers in the league so far. So at Craven Cottage, it's Fulham 1, Sheffield United 1.
Goodness me, you paint quite a picture there, Kane. Looking forward to seeing that goal when the highlights are available later. It's almost hard to envisage such a bizarre goal going in. Goodness me, but it's time for an ad break here on Football Live, and delighted to be bringing the Premier League fixtures this afternoon, and we'll be back after this. This is Football Live.
If you're betting on sports this week, why not make your money go further? Sign up to NairaBet for 11 days of risk-free betting. If your bet loses, you will get your stake back as a free bet up to 2,000 Naira. All you need to do is register a new account with NairaBet today and qualify to get up to 22,000 Naira in free bets. Visit www.nairabet.com/bonus for more information. General and free bet terms apply. Must be over 18. Must be KYC approved. Must place a qualifying bet. Bet must include football, tennis or basketball markets. Please gamble responsibly. You are listening to Football Live, powered by NairaBet. Live and exclusive on Brila FM. Here we go!
Football Live is back tomorrow with Premier League action. Arsenal against Manchester City. Newcastle go to West Ham. It's Brighton at home to Liverpool. And the Midlands derby, Wolves Aston Villa. Also action from the Bundesliga, La Liga and Serie A. Join Chris Baldwin from 2 in the afternoon tomorrow on Football Live, exclusive to Brila FM.
This is Football Live.
And you could not have scripted this. It's crazy, absolutely insane.
Oh my dearie me. I don't want to laugh or cry.
It's a show that's packed to the brim.
Oh my word, what is going on here? An unbelievable day here on Football Live.
Means there's action everywhere you look.
Great entertainment.
That's fantastic. Wow, just wow.
Brilla. News and engagements never stop on our website.
www.brilla.net
And our social media handles.
889 Brilla FM.
On Facebook.
Yes, 889 Brilla FM on Facebook. At 889 Brilla FM.
On Instagram.
Got it? At 889 Brilla FM on Instagram.
And on Twitter.
It's at Brilla FM 889 and Brilla Sports TV on Google+. Brilla.
News and engagements never stop.
So do remember to like all our pages. Do like us.
Sports Radio 88.9 Brila FM.
Let's get back to the action on Football Live. Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Alex Guilford.
Yes, welcome back to Football live and exclusive on Brilla FM. We're going to join Andrew Bonacore, who's at Old Trafford watching Manchester United against Brentford for us. Andrew, there's been a lot of talk about Manchester United's goalkeeper recently, but it sounds like something slightly more positive has gone his way in the game.
Absolutely, yeah. Possible redemption for Onana. Well, it was an excellent save. It was a great shot from the edge of the box from Neil Maupay. Absolutely no question. It was just going to clip under the crossbar, but Onana flung himself up and over to his right to flick the ball over the bar. And then from the resulting corner, it was a Norgard header. Just flicked it up and it looked like it was just going to creep in. But again, that right hand of Onana flicked up and got the ball over the bar again. So a couple of good saves from Onana. Maybe making up for his error in the first half, but United still pushing for that equalising goal.
Yeah, lovely stuff. We're just wondering about Eric Ten Hag's position at Manchester United, Andrew. Obviously, they're in a rotten run of form at the moment. Do you think his position as manager of the side at the moment is under threat given this result? I mean, they can't seem to buy a win at the moment. Obviously, I appreciate they beat Crystal Palace in the League Cup, and Bruno Fernandes scored I can't remember who it was that, and he scored a lovely volley, so they squeaked through 1-0 a few games ago. But other than that, that was perhaps a case of flattering to deceive, and other than that, they haven't seemed to play that well. What do you think the manager's position's like at the moment?
I genuinely think it all depends how you frame it, because you could, at the start of the game, a lot of chat on social media was, what on earth is he doing? Why is he put these two like Maguire and Johnny Evans into central defence? But equally, they've performed for him, so he's got no players really at the back that he can count on. He's brought in some kind of second, third string defenders, and they've done a job for him. But he's under pressure, certainly, but I'd be a bit surprised if this game really added to that pressure.
Lovely stuff. Thanks, Andrew. We'll come back to you in a few moments' time, but there's another goal for us to announce you here on Football Live.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
And it's come in the game at Craven Cottage between Fulham and Sheffield United, and it's gone the way of the home side. So Fulham are 2-1 up now at home. They lost to Chelsea on Monday night, as we've touched on a couple of times. Chelsea have gone away to Turf Moor, and it looks like all 3 points are heading back to London with them. They're 4-1 up at the moment. And Fulham have scored their second goal of the afternoon after allowing Sheffield United to draw level in slightly bizarre circumstances, in which Anthony Robinson stuck the ball in his own net after Issa Diop had gone down injured. Slightly calamitous proceedings going on at Craven Cottage, but the home fans, the Craven faithful will be delighted to see their side go 2-1 up, having scored all 3 of them. So we'll be touching base with Kane Weers in a second for a report on that goal. Just to talk you through the other scores in the Premier League, it is still Burnley 1, Chelsea 4, Everton 3, Bournemouth 0, Fulham 2, Sheffield United 1, Man United 1. Oh, it's Man United 1. Oh, excuse me. Am I reading that right? I'm just got on my screen here. There's another goal for us to announce for you on Football Live.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Goodness me, I was just reading my screen with all the scores on in the Premier League this afternoon, and it literally changed from 0 to 1 as I was looking at it. The offside flag, we are told, is up at Old Trafford, though. It looks like Manchester United's goal at home to Brentford might be under a pretty vigorous VAR check because the offside flag has gone up. We will be touching base with Andrew Buonocore in a few moments' time, and we will be hearing about, in his own words, Kane Weir's own words, a crazy game at Craven Cottage. Kane, tell us what happened.
This game's starting to come alive now, and just moments before the goal, and this is where I didn't really know what was going on. Vinicius has actually ended up in the stand, so he was playing up against Trusty just at the back, and he just tries to shield him out, and instead actually literally puts him into row A in Craven Cottage. But the goal, again, just sums up, I think, this second half and how much of a strange afternoon it's been at Craven Cottage, where Fulham win the possession high up in Sheffield United's half. And Tom Kearney just lines up a shot from about 25 yards, and he slips as he strikes it. The ball loops up into the end towards the goal, hits the crossbar, and then hits the back of goalkeeper Wes Foderingham and goes in the back of the net. So for fantasy football people, probably enjoying Tom Carey getting that goal there. So it's now Fulham 2, Sheffield United 1.
Goodness me, what a topsy-turvy game going on at Craven Cottage. We're going to go to Old Trafford now and talk to Andrew Buonocore. At Old Trafford, it's currently, I believe it's currently Manchester United 0, Brentford 1, but there does seem to be a bit of confusion, or there certainly is at our end. Is it clear where you are, Andrew?
Yeah, it's definitely still 1-0 to Brentford, Alex, but there was a golden moment for Manchester United where they did believe that they'd equalised, but the linesman's flag was up very quickly. It was you see this happen a lot where the ball is played in and headed clear, but a few of the Man United players had kind of gone in to attack the goalkeeper, and as the ball was cleared away, they stay in an offside position. The ball comes in again, and it falls to one of those players. That player was Anthony Martial. He flicked the ball goalwards, and it would have been an own goal off Norgard, but no question at all that there was an offside infringement. Norgard has just tackled Hoyland for the ball to go out to for a Man United corner, and he's celebrating like he's just scored the winner in the World Cup final. It's something, as an Italian, I have to say, I love to see defenders celebrating good defensive work, and so far Brentford's defensive work has been absolutely on point. So Man United, as we are now a couple of minutes into 6 minutes of injury time, they're still staying around because they are putting Brentford under pressure, but Brentford are just so disciplined at the back. It's still Manchester United 0, Brentford 1.
Thank you very much, Andrew. I'm sure we'll be coming back to you before too long for an update there. They're about halfway through 6 minutes of added time. At the end of the second half, they're still Manchester United 0, Brentford 1. Deep in added time everywhere except for Craven Cottage. It's Burnley 1, Chelsea 4, Everton 3, Bournemouth 0, and Manchester United a goal down, as I just mentioned. Fulham and Sheffield United have slightly less than 10 minutes of normal time left to play. And there has been another goal here on Football Live.
The goals,
powered by NairaBet.
Goodness me. Well, we were just handed back to by Andrew Bonacre at Old Trafford, and it looks like since then Manchester United have equalised through Scott McTominay. Andrew, we're going to cut straight to you. The timing of that, utterly bizarre. I suppose it's curse of the commentator or curse of the presenter. No sooner had you handed back to me, but Manchester United equalised. Tell us about the goal.
Well, such is the mercurial nature of football. It could have been any Manchester United attack from the last 93 minutes. It must be the 400th time that they've tried to play the ball in. This time it was Garnacho. He managed to get the ball down to the byline, crossed the ball in. Brentford dealt with it, but their clearance cannoned off another defensive player's back. It fell to Scott McTominay, who you have to say he didn't have any space in the box, but he managed to wrap his leg around the Brentford defender's foot, squeeze the ball in between Strakosha and his near post. And now you've got 1 minute of added time remaining. Maybe the referee's going to add on another 30 seconds for the goal. And you never know. Man United could get 3 points from this game if they keep on going and find just that few inches of space. The goal changes the complete complexion of this game. And I mentioned earlier on about Ten Hag's job, and it's all about framing. You know, he started with a second string defensive four. Harry Maguire and Johnny Evans, they've not put a foot wrong, to be fair. They've defended very, very well. He's made lots of changes in the second half against a very, very disciplined and very good and well-drilled Brentford team who defended absolutely magnificently. And, you know, you could say, well done, Man United, because they huffed and puffed and eventually they managed to blow the house down. That defensive wall of Brentford's finally gave, and it was because of that non-stop pressure and aggression from Manchester United that they got back in the game. No question that his changes have impacted his team's ability to go forward, because he brought off the likes of Casemiro, who was having an absolute nothing game, and brought on players like Garnacho, who got the ball down to the byline, crossed the ball in. And in fact, just as we're talking, Martial, of course, has a chance to win the game as we go into the 6th minute of added time. Quite a brilliant game. It's been great fun to watch, I have to say. And as the seconds run down to the end of the match, it's now Manchester United 1, Brentford 1.
Yeah, thank you very much, Andrew. You can't put a price sometimes on sort of a rousing, even though it's only 1 point at home to Brentford, a rousing late goal like that can do wonders for the dressing room, can't it? Not long left in that game now. Manchester United on the attack as we speak. 5 minutes of normal time left at Craven Cottage in the game between Fulham and Sheffield United, and I'm delighted to announce another goal.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
And it is unbelievably, it's another goal for Manchester United at Old Trafford. 2 injury time goals. Andrew Bonacore, seconds after handing back to me here in the studio, you've seen another goal go in for the home side. What on earth is going on?
Absolutely astonishing scenes at Old Trafford. The Brentford defenders are crestfallen. The entire Man United team are gathering around the goal scorer. Scott McTominay gets his second goal of the game. I've said that Brentford have defended fantastically, but what you can't defend against is ricochets in and around your own box. And it happened again. A long punt forward from a free kick on the halfway line. And who's the man who rises above everyone else at the far post to head the ball back? Harry Maguire. He found his teammate Scott McTominay brilliant in the air, the Scotsman, and he flicked the ball past Strakosha. Strakosha just got his fingertips on it, tipped it onto the post, but he couldn't keep it out. And Man United, as I said they could, have got something from this game. Not just 1 point, but 3 points. As the whistle is about to go, it's Manchester United 2, Brentford 1.
Goodness me. What a fantastic game unfolding at Old Trafford. Manchester United fans, when you call in, get in touch with FJ. We want to hear from you. What do you make of your team's rousing injury time performance? Was it lucky? It certainly sounds a little bit like they might have ridden their luck on a couple of occasions. I think it's fair to say Manchester United, but they look to be going home with all 3 points, having secured their second goal in the 97th minute of the game. In the meantime, Real Madrid have just missed a penalty against Osasuna. They are 4 goals to nil up still. They could have gone 5 clear just a few moments ago, but it's a penalty missed. Joselu got the 4th goal and for them, and he's also missed the penalty as well. So it's full time at Chelsea. It's full time at Burnley against Chelsea. It's full time at Goodison Park between Everton and Bournemouth. We're going to go to our correspondent Ash Sanderford there in just a second, but first of all we're going to go to Jackson Cole at Turf Moor. Jackson, a stirring second half display by Chelsea. It'll be a really good one for the confidence booster, not just for the team as a whole, but for a couple of individual players as well.
Absolutely. Burnley 1, Chelsea 4. A good performance by Chelsea, who did well to come back from behind to claim what proved to be such an easy win, claiming consecutive Premier League wins for the first time since March. Wilson Odegaard's opening goal to put Burnley ahead seems like an awfully long time ago, but it was a great finish. The 18-year-old Frenchman drilling the ball into the bottom right-hand corner of the net. It was a mature performance by this young Chelsea side, but it was one of their experienced heads in Raheem Sterling who steered them in the right direction. He played a key role in their equaliser just before half-time as his fizzing cross deflected in off Amin Al-Dakhil and into the net. Al-Dakhil was then substituted at half-time by Burnley boss Vincent Kompany. Sterling's next victim came in the form of right-back Vitinho, who he breezed past before being tripped in the box by the Brazilian. Cole Palmer took the resulting penalty and scored his first goal for Chelsea. Sterling then got his goal as he rifled the ball past James Trafford after being played through by Conor Gallagher. Their fourth came shortly after through Nicholas Jackson. He showed great feet before firing the ball in with his left foot. Again, more great work by Sterling in the lead up to that goal. I want to say it's finished Burnley 1, Sterling 4, because Sterling was that good this afternoon. But in the interest of accuracy, it's Burnley 1, Chelsea 4.
Thank you very much, Jackson. It's full time at Old Trafford now as well. We're going to go to Ash Sanderford, though, quickly before we talk to Andrew Bonacore again. We've heard a lot from Andrew Bonacore, so I think we're up to date with what's going on there, but we'll get a full-time report from him in a second. Meanwhile, Ash Sanderford was at Everton against Bournemouth, where the home side put in a really convincing display, didn't they, Ash?
Yeah, super convincing, to be honest with you. It's Everton 3, Bournemouth 0 full-time here at Goodison Park, and it's an absolute dominant display from Sean Dyche and his men. And Sean Dyche has gone back to his old ways, clean sheet, couple of goals, or 3 goals in fact. And it all started with a James Garner goal after 8 minutes. A simple finish in the end. It didn't really get anyone near close to him. It was quite a simple finish into an empty net. After that, Ashley Young did get himself booked, and he was on the tightrope for most of the game. He really struggled to really keep intact with the wingers for Everton because he was on that booking, and that affected that second goal after that cross came in with the goalkeeper parrying out. It was actually a really good parry out, to be honest with you. You got it about 26, 27 yards out of play, and then Jack Harrison on the volley kind of clipped it over the defenders and over the goalkeeper in off the bar. It was a fantastic first time finish, and Jack Harrison has starting his first game for Everton on loan from Leeds, so he'll be absolutely delighted with his first home league debut after that goal. In the second half, the game settled itself down, and after about 60 minutes, the Corey came in with a great empty net kind of flick on from the middle of the park from Jack Harrison's great strike, and it parried off the goalkeeper, and Decore again tapped it into an empty net. In the end, Bournemouth really struggled to break them down. They brought on various amounts of substitutions, but they couldn't get anywhere near Everton in the end. Everton were really happy with their first win at Goodison Park this season, getting themselves 3 points on the ball, and their head-to-head record against Bournemouth continues with winning 7 out of their last 6 games, 5 games I should say. So good performance here from Everton and Sean Dyche and his men. It's Everton 3, Bournemouth 0.
Thank you very much, Ash. Thanks for your fine work this afternoon. But before we go anywhere else, there's been another goal for you here on Football Live.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Yes, that's right. There's been another goal at the only Premier League game where the full-time whistle hasn't been blown yet, and that's at Craven Cottage between Fulham and Sheffield United. There has been another goal for the home side, so it's Fulham 3, Sheffield United 1. Fulham, of course, have scored all 4 goals after Anthony Robinson equalised against his own team for Sheffield United. We'll be getting an update from our correspondent there, Kane Weers, who will give us an update on a chance that happened a little bit earlier on in the game. And in fact, we're going to go straight to Craven Cottage now for an update on that goal from Kane Weers.
Yeah, 3-1 to Fulham and game over here, but a great goal from Willian. And he really deserves this because he's had a number of chances like this in the game. And it's a Willian-esque goal where he picks the ball up on the left-hand side and just looks to cut in. He actually plays a little give and go with Vinicius, who just sets him just inside of into the box, and he just fires it home past Fotheringham in the Sheffield United goal. So it's Fulham 3, Sheffield United 1.
Glorious stuff. Thank you, Kane. It sounds like it's been bedlam down at Craven Cottage in southwest London. Only a few miles down the road, of course, from Chelsea's home game, where, of course, Fulham lost to Chelsea on Monday night, I think it was. We're going to go back to Old Trafford quickly, though, have a quick debrief with Andrew Bonacori, because Andrew has witnessed an extraordinary afternoon of football at Old Trafford. Andrew, you did tell us that Manchester United were well in the game. They had a toe in the game throughout, but just weren't able to break Brentford down. And in the end, they banged. You said they huffed and they puffed, and they eventually blew the house down rather than banged it down. Summarise the game for us. What are your emotions like right now? They must be all over the place.
Well, all I can say, there was a lot going on and a lot happened, but a lot of it was very, very similar. It couldn't never say it was a rearguard action from Brentford, but they were so disciplined and organised in defence that it was very difficult for United to break them down. But they managed to do it at the end. It was smiles all round at full time, but one United face that was clearly missing a smile at the end was Casemiro, because he knows he contributed absolutely nothing good to his team, and it was his mistake on 21 minutes that handed possession to Brentford. That led to Jensen's shot, which just squeaked in under Onana's arm. Ten Hag made changes at half-time, carried on making changes in the second half, and finally that little bit of luck fell United's way. It was Scott McTominay who found an inch of space in the 93rd minute to turn the ball in, and then, well, wild scenes. The unimaginable happened in the 8th minute of injury time. A United free kick was pumped forward. Harry Maguire beat all comers in the air, headed the ball into the danger zone, and it was the Scotsman McTominay again who glanced his header in off the post despite Strakosha's fingertips. It really was an extraordinary end to this game, Alex, and it's a result that could change everything for United. I'm sure most United fans will completely ignore the previous 92 minutes because at the end of 97 minutes of play, it finished finally. Manchester United 2, Brentford 1.
Thank you ever so much, Andrew, for your fine work at Old Trafford this afternoon. It's a real story of, to an extent, some of the forgotten men at Manchester United. Johnny Evans and Harry Maguire started at centre-back for the home team this evening. A few eyebrows were raised there at the sight of those lineups when they were released. Just got an update from Madrid. It's the game between Real Madrid and Osasuna's finished 4-0. Jude Bellingham with 2 goals there. Vinicius Jr. with the 3rd. Joselu scored a 4th and then missed a penalty after that. So an eventful afternoon for Joselu. But as I was just saying there, for Manchester United, Casemiro didn't have a great game. He was hauled off at half-time for the slightly more sort of progressive Christian Eriksen. I mean, you have to be honest that Casemiro has he's certainly earned his dues at Manchester United. He was a really, really important player for them last season. He's had a slightly tricky start to his campaign this year, but he's done he didn't put a foot wrong last year, and so it's a bit harsh, I think, to possibly point too much blame at him at this stage. But Christian Eriksen came on in his stead, did a really fine job, and then Scott McTominay, there was so much talk linking him with a transfer in the summer, wasn't there? And it's great to see him get 2 late stoppage time goals and an assist for Harry Maguire in the dying embers of the game. So possibly a bit of a confidence booster for both of those sort of fringe players at Manchester United, but players who no doubt will have ambitions to be in Erik ten Hag's starting lineup, or certainly there or thereabouts throughout the rest of the season. So just to remind you, the scores in the Premier League this afternoon: the 12:30 game between Luton and Tottenham finished 1-0 to Tottenham, despite them going down to 10 men just before the stroke of half-time. At Turf Moor, the game between Burnley and Chelsea finished Burnley 1, Chelsea 4. Really impressive performance by Chelsea despite going a goal down. They were slightly lucky to go level through an own goal by Al Dakil, but Cole Palmer scored from the penalty spot on 50 minutes before Raheem Sterling and Nicholas Jackson added some gloss to the scoreline. At Goodison Park, Everton 3, Bournemouth 0. The game finished. Garner, Harrison and Decore all on the score sheet for the home side. Manchester United 2, Brentford 1 at Old Trafford, thanks to 2 late injury time goals from Scott McTominay, as we just mentioned. And unfortunately, due to a long injury delay in the first half, Fulham and Sheffield United are still playing, still underway, but it looks like all 3 points will be staying at Craven Cottage, as Fulham are currently 3 goals to the 1 good. To the goods, Bobby de Cordova-Reid gave his side the lead before Anthony Robinson scored an own goal for Sheffield United. And then it was actually, it's a Fodringham own goal. I actually thought it was, thought Fulham had scored, but then the Sheffield United goalkeeper has been given officially the own goal before Willian made it 3-1 in added time. So that's just time for me to say a massive thank you for having me this afternoon on my first presenting shift here on Football Live. I hope you've enjoyed the show. I've certainly enjoyed tremendously presenting to you all. Thanks for the support to all my wonderful reporters out across England and the rest of Europe, and wishing you all a very happy weekend. This has been Football Live.
You have been listening to Football Live, exclusive to Brea FM. Today's show was produced by John Kane and presented by Alex Guilford. A very big thank you to all of our reporters who took part on the show. We will, of course, be back on Brea FM with another Football Live tomorrow afternoon with Chris Baldwin from 2 o'clock.